Okay, guys, sorry it took me a little bit longer to set up than usual, so just getting everything all figured out now. And just let me get all the feedback going as well. Okay, so should be pretty good today. It's like not too much else I need to worry about. All right, sorry. This audio thing is still an issue. So I need to find a way to figure out how I can do all the audio and still hear like notifications on the screen. So that's been a pretty big issue, but I'm going to be doing some Procreate drawing today. And let me just fix this really fast. We're just having some screen issues as always. Yeah, it's like stretched out like crazy. Let me see what's going on with this. The service I'm using has this weird thing where it stretches out everything I'm working on. So what you're seeing on screen is not even close to what my actual screen looks like. This technology is so frustrating sometimes. But yeah, so I have all the other links in the description as well for the Discord and stuff as well. If you want to hang out there during the stream, you can watch the stream directly in the Discord server and listen to your own music, share it, all that sort of stuff. So that's pretty exciting. The screen settings, though, I'm sorry about that. I don't know why it's acting so strange. I think I just need to figure that out on another one of these days. But should be working in a second. I'm really sorry. This happens like every time I try to stream. There's always some issue. So let me just double check this. There we go. Hit done. I'm gonna try to do another capture. All right, and it looks like stream. So what? Yes, I'm still seeing a totally different image than what you guys are seeing. So I don't know why that is. I'm like drawing on here. Let's see. So yeah, it looks like there's a latency issue. It's taking forever to get this thing to work today. Interesting. All right, so yeah, this should be working. So there shouldn't be any latency. Gonna just close this real quick. And that, and then yeah, so there's a bit of a weird screen capture issue. See if this helps by like stretching it out a little. All right, so yeah, we're just doing some tests. I'm sorry that the stream is like a little like wonky. All right, we should be up and running now. The I still have no idea why it's all stretched out. Let me try to get this going and see what's going on with it. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna draw. I don't know why it's stretched out like that. I don't know why it's doing that. It's really frustrating. I'm sorry. Shouldn't be doing that at all. I think it's just the resolution is like being distorted for some reason. It's a huge pain in my ass. I'm sorry. Let's see. Yeah, there's not much up on it why it's doing that. Okay. All right, so yeah, it's there's a connection issue, so I'm doing it all wirelessly, so that's probably what's going on. All right, let's try this again. Okay. How's that? Still pretty bad. All right. I'm just going to have to work with it, guys. I don't know what else I can tell you. It's just, it is what it is. I'm sorry. I don't know how to figure it out right now. It's like all the screen capture stuff and everything that's going on with it is just, I don't know. It's, it's not doing really good. Maybe this will help. There's like really bad latency and lag on it. Okay. Yeah, still super distorted. So there's something that's going on with the software. I don't know how to fix this right now. I don't know what to do for it. I think there's just like a weird like iPad issue. I'm gonna try to see if I can fix that. So I just gotta make another stream source really fast. I'm really sorry. This happens every time. There's just like no easy way to just pick up and start streaming with the setup that I currently have. So a different source and see if that helps. Add source. I'll just be this one here. Okay, hit done. And that's like its own source there. And then we're gonna just take this webcam capture and delete it. Okay, and I think this should work. So hopefully this will work. There it is on the screen. I'm gonna try to just stretch it out without it distorting too much and see if it'll let me do that. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I might be able to do that. I think it was just like an issue with the software. So it's compressing down the actual image. So I think that'll help with it. Okay. All right, so that looks a little bit more accurate now. Let's see. And there shouldn't be as much latency, so you guys should be able to communicate a little bit better today. My connection's a little bit slower. But I'm just gonna start drawing. Sorry, the image is probably like all sorts of wonky on your guys' end, and the stream quality is a little poor today. I can't seem to get it to work the way it needs to work, so. Let's do that. And that's from the other day. So it's going through all these all the rewards and stuff from like the past couple streams. So thank you guys. It's been awesome. And what I'm doing today is basically I'm going to be continuing my Tattoo Flash series that I've been working on. For those of you who've been following me on Instagram, you've seen some of these drawings already. So it was like the peony flower, the sad moon drawing, and like the rose. So those have been pretty helpful. And sorry, I'm just checking now. Super chat just got closed. Hey, what's up, Tenzing? So yeah, I'm gonna show you guys some stuff I also got in the mail today. I'm gonna show you on the webcam, and then when I do my other video this week, you'll be able to see like the more detailed shots of that and stuff that's going on Instagram. So Tenzing is an awesome YouTuber and street artist, and he sent me this giant pack of his amazing stickers and a piece that we're going to be collabing on, so I'm pretty pumped about it. I haven't done a sticker collab in a long time, so this is one of the pieces here, and it's pretty sick. I like it a lot. We got some other ones here that he's made. These are really awesome, super talented. He's like a young blood out there really putting in some work. I haven't even had a chance to actually look at all of these yet, so I'm pretty stoked. These are sick. Let's see like what you guys can see on there. Like this little like wolf dog head thing. I'm into that. Thing's sweet. This guy. This right here. Bro, you gotta share the secrets on this one. This one's sick right here. I like the glossy black on matte black. That was my favorite finish for all my old packaging design. That was everything I would do with like the high gloss ink right on top. But it looks like it's marker on an eggshell. So it's like a matte black eggshell, and then there's just like a gloss marker on top. Amazing. And then we got some logo stickers. These are killer. You might be seeing these around Boston. I didn't do it though. Let's see. Yeah, we got some more of these. These are cool. This like this house sticker. I remember when you drew this, like you had it posted on Instagram. This thing's sick. I like this a lot. What else we got? Some more of these. I don't know your character's original name, so I don't want to butcher them, but I'm really into these. These are sick, man. I'm excited to put some up and share them with the homies. Get them all over Boston for you. And then the collab, I'm already thinking of some ideas of what I can do with this guy. So this should be pretty fun. And then I have another package. I should probably hide my address on this stuff, huh? So Life is Terrible Toys. You've heard me recommend his stuff pretty much in every stream because he's awesome and he's always in every stream. And he donates to the stream, which is absolutely insane and amazing. But he actually made me a little character from the stuff that he's been casting. So I definitely wanted to share it on stream because it's super awesome. So he's got these little pins here, like these little buttons. So these are pretty sick. So little buttons. He's got this magnet skull, which I really like this a lot. This is a cool piece. It's like a clear resin, and then it's got some of the like leftover other colors of resin in the mold. It's like a cool casting technique. Does this glow in the dark? No, does it? It could. It hasn't been sitting in sunlight. Maybe it does. I didn't ask him. I just like I told him like I got it yesterday and I was really excited about it, and then I was like I'm just gonna wait until the stream to really look at it. Actual first impressions. All right, so this is what he cast. This little rubber guy here. This is one of his original characters, and it's got like a Skeletor head. So if you guys have followed my stuff as well, you know I'm a big Masters of the Universe fan. And it's got interchangeable legs. And it's like it's not resin, it's like a rubber material. So this guy's like a soft rubber material. And then the legs are resin, I believe. Yeah, they're like a resin. And there's like a bunch of sets. So it's got like these all white legs. These teal metallic legs. These are sick. I like these a lot. And you just change them out. This is really awesome. I'm a big fan of modular design when it comes to making toys. So super rad. This is really cool. Big fan of how this looks. So I will definitely want to give him a huge shout out. You can see all of his stuff that's like inside my other chats from other videos. I'm sure he's gonna come on at some point, and I'll have to bring these out again just to show him. I'm really hyped on these. These came out really rad. And then Tenzing, also thank you so much, homie, for the stickers. We're gonna make something killer together. I'm really excited about it. And now let's get into this drawing. I've had enough technical difficulties today to where I don't know what else I can do to make this stream less annoying to watch, but I'm going to try to figure that out for the next one. There's still like a distortion I'm seeing on the YouTube channel and what compared to what I'm seeing on the live screen. So I've tried editing it a few times and seeing what I can change, but it doesn't look like it's actually editing at all. It just looks like it's still distorting. So I'm just going to see if I can get that going, and we'll figure it out. I think there's just like a weird issue with the stream key. I think is what's the issue. I think it's like trying to stretch it to make it fit. So it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I'm sorry, guys. And let's like refresh this. So there shouldn't be latency with the chat either, but it looks like there's an issue with it. Yeah, it just looks super clunky on YouTube. I don't know what else I can do for it. I've tried stretching it out and seeing what happens, but it looks like there's going to be an issue the whole time. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to draw, and then I'll just post the images after online. So if you have any questions, right now it just looks like really short and kind of stubby. So there's not much I can really do about that right now. But I'm going to show you some of the features that I use in Procreate all the time. And one of them is some of the drawing guide features they have in it, which is like makes it a really, really amazing app to work with and draw with. I keep hitting the gallery buttons. So if you go into edit drawing guide, you can change where the drawing guide is going to be. So I have symmetry turned on. You go into options. We're going to change it. It's technically a like, even though it's a vertical image, I have it sideways on a different canvas, so it looks like that. So we're gonna just hit done. That looks great. We're gonna keep drawing assist on. We're gonna take our artwork that's been recently merged, and then we're gonna actually try to get it as close as we can to the center, just so when we start drawing, you'll see why that is important. And then we're gonna go on a new layer. We're gonna click on that. We make sure that we have assist turned on, if I can find it. Drawing assist. So you turn that on, and then I'm going to go to my inking, which is just this black ink here, and then we're going to use one of my newer favorite brush sets. So this is the Stipple Studio brush set from, I believe it's True Grit did this one, so pretty pumped to see it. We're just gonna start drawing basically, and I don't know like if the webcam's annoying for you guys while I'm drawing and all the stuff that's on the screen, so let me know. It's like a learning process for me as well, and it's a little difficult for me to kind of figure out. But there's also the Discord server, which I've already mentioned for people that are just coming on to the stream right now. You can join the Discord server now if you want. It's free. It's just a place for you guys to kind of hang out and do your own thing and chat with the other creatives that are on the channel and kind of checking things out. So after this month, I'm going to be turning that option off, where if you want access to it and you're not like an early on follower, it will be going on a part of the Patreon rewards like a lot of other streamers do. But for the first month, it's going to be completely free. So if you want to join on the stream, you can. And sorry, I'm just trying to find a way to draw these lines comfortably. I don't have the iPad in the stand right now, so it's a little bit harder for me to draw. So I have my Cintiq on the side here as like a second monitor to read your guys' comments and whatnot in the super chat. Okay. See, I'm gonna try to draw flat without making it. Hang on, I'm sorry. So this has been a problem. There's a lot of connection issues with the Air server itself. This is like the app that I've been using since I started using it, and sometimes it just has a lot of issues. I'm sorry. Slowly getting there. We're getting the streams back. We're getting the stream quality back. All right, we're back. Yeah, that's one of the issues I've had with it. It will close out, and then there's this weird distortion thing that's been happening, and I don't know how to fix that either. So if anyone knows a better option to stream Procreate videos, it'd be much appreciated. I would really, really appreciate finding out what you guys use, because I keep running into a lot of issues with a lot of technical issues on it. So I'm just trying to find an easier solution that isn't so bad. So this brush is made up of a lot of small dots. If you were to really like stretch it out, you can see that it's got a lot of small dots, and that's how it's made. So when you use the drawing assist, like the snap to line, it can look a little static, even though it's a super heavy textured line. It doesn't seem right. It looks a little structured and like kind of off. So I'm still trying to get that all figured out. And because I have the symmetry drawing assist on, you can see that it's like drawing two lines there. So what you can do, if you're just trying to draw a singular line and you're running into that as an issue, you just go over your layer, turn off drawing assist, and then you can go back on the layer, start drawing, and you can make a super wonky line, hold it in place, and it'll snap straight in a straight line. So I actually usually start at the tip of the blade. I'll go up, and I'm just drawing kind of really fast and loose and kind of wonky on purpose. And then we'll go and we'll turn the drawing assist back on. So anytime you need a perfect straight line down the middle of an object while you're drawing in Procreate, that's what you're going to want to do, just to kind of get a level of consistency. The drawing assist really helps a lot with that. It's one of my favorite features in the app, and it's definitely a lot nicer than some of the other drawing apps out there that I've seen for the iPad specifically. So I'm just getting in some of the simple details. I'm overshooting my lines because I'm going to go back and clean them up with an eraser. And if you just double tap your Apple Pencil, it brings up your eraser. I just have a kind of a default one at a bit of a smaller size, and I can get in there and really pull out a lot of these tight lines and still keep the texture without there being like a flat surface. So I usually just tap on the pencil to do that. And if you guys have any questions as well, definitely feel free to leave them in there or go like hang out in the Discord. We got a lot of cool stuff that's always happening on the Discord server. So it just started and we already got a decent amount of members on there. There's already 8 people that have joined it. So I'm super pumped about that. A lot of people from 1000's Discord server as well I've been kind of chatting with as well, and they've been really, really nice. So I'm having fun with it. I can't remember who suggested it, but it was actually someone from the live stream videos that suggested that I do a Discord server in the first place. And super thankful because I'm really enjoying it. I didn't think I would really be able to figure it out, but now that I know what I don't want to say I know what I'm doing, but now that I'm kind of getting used to it, it's a really nice app, and I understand why people really like it so much for like creatives and stuff. Yeah, so I'm sorry that the image is still really distorted. I've been trying to figure it out. There's just no way to do good streams anymore. There used to be a feature that was directly built into Procreate for doing live streams, but apparently it's no longer a feature, or at least I can't figure out how to do it. So that's a huge bummer because it would make my life a lot easier during these live streams just to have something that's native and I don't have to plug in 20 apps. And that's also why I was doing a lot more of the just hand drawing sketchbook live streams, just because the Procreate stuff is just really hard to figure out, and I don't have like a budget right now to spend on all the software that I would need to do this. So everything that has been made so far, all the donations that have been made on the channel have actually gone into buying licenses and software so I can do the live streams a little bit better. So thank you so much to everyone that has donated in the streams. It's been awesome, and the support's been crazy. So thank you a lot. Really appreciate it. I'm trying to work out like a whole thing with Patreon and all that. It's super weird for me to like kind of dive into that world as a content creator. Never thought I'd be doing that. So it's not something I was expecting to really take off with popularity. And now that it's grown a little bit, I'm excited to kind of see what we can all build as a community. And I'm just following one side of my drawing because I have the drawing assist turned on, but you will see, because the drawing is not perfectly symmetrical for my sketch I'm starting with, that are going to differ slightly, and that's okay. That's how a lot of traditional illustration in real life happens anyway. I use a lot of tracing paper when I'm trying to lay out any graphic, where I'll draw it once and then refine it on multiple layers of tracing paper, or if I want to try something out that's a bit destructive as far as like the drawing itself goes, I'll use tracing. And essentially like that's what layers are in Procreate and other drawing apps. And also when I start from the center, I actually overshoot the line a bit, just so I can start off on the other side and try to meet them up to make sure I have a smooth transition on the line. And that's just a technique that I've been using for quite a while with it, now that I've been messing around with the app a bit more. I think that's like a really helpful thing that I've noticed that you can do. And just try to line them up, but at an angle instead of directly straight, so I don't get a weird flat spot on there. If that makes any sense. Yeah, so this one you can see there's like a weird flat spot on the top. So that's a little frustrating for sure. So let me try that again. I'm going to try a slightly more downward angle. There we go. Looks a little bit better. And then if it starts to look a little too static and boring, even though you're using like a texture brush with the drawing assist, that can happen. It can definitely get rid of some of the life in the drawing. It's totally fine to turn off the drawing assist if you want to give it like more of a sloppy, or not sloppy, but like more of a hand-done feel. I'll usually do that for circles, but this one I'm just gonna let it be as is. Fill it in kind of rough. And sorry about all the noise. I have like a air purifier on. Let me just turn that off. I'm sorry. Okay. A little less background noise. All right. Sick. Like my hair is a total mess. I feel like I'm in a grunge band from the 90s. Hey, what's up, man? Sorry, I just like noticed your chat there. I actually just showed everyone the toys that you sent, so super pumped. Thank you. I'll feel weird if I like pull them back out, but I can pull them back out in a minute. I'm absolutely in love with the interchangeable legs on those, man. It's so cool. Such a good design. So I didn't plan on any of the shading for this drawing. I didn't plan on color palette. Didn't even cross my mind. I did start sketching this the other night while I was sketching those other drawings, but I like passed out halfway through. I was just really tired, super late. So we're just gonna see what happens. I'm kind of keeping this one a bit clunkier as well towards the top. I really like that sort of loose style, and it definitely goes against everything that I typically draw, which has a very like tightened kind of feel to it. I'm going to change the top of this because this just looks like really bad. All right. Yeah, so it's a different style than I'm used to doing with my art. I usually really over render things for no reason. It's just a bad habit. Okay. All right, so yeah, we got pretty much everything there on the drawing now. And then I'm just going to go in. I'm going to turn off the sketch layer here. And once the sketch layer is off, you'll actually be able to see all the detail of the line drawing now. It looks pretty good. This is where I'll usually zoom in if I see anything that looks a little spotty or off. I'll go in with an eraser and kind of clean it up a bit. If there's some things that look really strange, and then I'll turn off drawing assist on the layer. And I'll start cleaning it up so I can do one side at a time to get more of like an organic feel where things look too similar or parallel. Just to make it look a bit more natural. Like over here. It's okay to have the gaps too. I like the effect of the gaps in this, the brush and everything. All right, so that looks pretty good. It's supposed to look pretty messy, so that's totally normal. The one thing you want to look for though is some of these gaps where there isn't a closure. You want to make sure there's a closure if you're going to use drawing assist. Or sorry, using like a layer underneath to capture some of the things on here. So you just want to have closed gaps and no openings when you're doing color fill. So I'm going to do another layer underneath. Sorry, let me just try to keep up with the chat today. So I'm still trying to figure out a way I can have the chat chime without having a lot of feedback, because if I turn this on, I get a lot of feedback on the microphone. And you'll hear what I'm saying twice in this weird echo loop pattern. And there's a bit of a delay, so it's really hard for me to know what's working, what's not working. I think I need to get a different type of microphone, and I'm not doing that anytime soon. XLR microphones are a bit expensive, and I don't want to buy a full audio interface just to do a live stream. It's pretty crazy. I would need to buy camera equipment before I did that. So can't do that. But I am going to try to find ways to improve it and see if I can find somewhere on a forum. I'm sure there's something out there to help improve my stream quality, but it's in the works. All right, so I'm making a new layer. Gonna get a sip of my non-sponsored water. Polar, you can hit me up. I'll take a sick Polar sponsor any day. All right, so we're gonna go on this, and we're gonna do. I think it's a reference. Yeah, there we go. So you hit reference, and now when you actually drag in color from your palette, so you grab the little color swatch, and you can drag it in and just drop it into place. And that's how you do that. We're going to do a really simple palette. I'm going to make a palette with 3 colors on a new layer. We'll do like a little red swatch right here. We'll fill it in. Oh, see, that's what happens when you have all the holes on there. So if you go in, there's probably like a hole in here somewhere. Why is it doing that? It's weird. Doesn't normally do that. All right, well, there's something going on there. It's not letting me do the fill. Huh. Oh, okay. It's because the reference is on this layer too. Didn't know it worked on the layers above. That's interesting, actually. So that's something to keep in mind. There are some weird things in the app I've noticed like that, where like a thing like a reference layer will definitely react differently. I think I'm gonna go with this navy. This is like kind of a cool. It's a little dark. Let's see. Let's find looking good. Maybe this one. Yeah. So that's one of the things I've noticed. Things that wouldn't react like that in other apps with similar features, I do notice in Procreate. Like that weird reference thing is usually on always the layer below, never the layer above. But apparently it's all layers that make contact with the reference layer. So that's fine. Just something to think about, app developers. So we're gonna keep the palette just like this. I think the red actually is a little light for my personal taste. I would probably go with a darker red in real life or if I were painting this. So there's like a burgundy red I used. Yeah, that looks a lot better in this palette in my opinion. Yeah, that looks great. So those are the colors I'm going to use for shading this, and I'm just going to grab them as I need them. Now I usually do the coloring process and then the shading on top of it just to see where it might need it. We're going to do that. We're going to try that first and see. And because there's a paper texture, we're going to turn just the textures off very quickly just so I can easily grab colors. So now we're going to go and turn the reference layers back on. We're going to hit reference. And you know what I just realized? 1 second. I accidentally filled this layer in on in my line work layer, not on the layer below it. So if you do that, what I would recommend if you've done work that would be destroyed, if you were to go back, you want to just copy and paste it. You can do that by going to your little like selection tool up here, and you can just select it. You hit copy and paste, and then it will paste it on a new layer, but it's already copied to your clipboard, so you can just undo those. Cancel, and then you just go back. So I'm just going to hold 2 fingers down, and that will bring back to a point before I did that. And then if you do 3 fingers, it goes a step ahead. And just like lets you undo some styles. So that's the one we want to just avoid right there. And then we'll go and make a new layer. Go into this section, and it won't let me paste. Oh, that's a bummer. Yep. So that's a thing right there. That doesn't work like that in other programs. That's embarrassing. All right. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. That's like a new thing. Oh, dude, anytime. I'm glad to always show your stuff. And like the homie Tenzing has stuff on there today as well. Always pumped to share that stuff. It's super cool to see it, you know. And let me just see if I can get this pop-out window to work again. It's always an issue on here. All right. I'm just going to, yeah. This is what I can do with it right now. It's just hard for me to keep up with it. Looks like there's some activity now going on in Discord as well. So if you guys want to check that out, highly recommend it. Tenzing, I think I sent you a link, to that. I'm not sure if you didn't get it. I'll send you another one, or you can get it. There's a link in this description of the video. All right, make sure I'm in the right layer this time. All right, so this is my swatch layer. Just gonna name it. And this is just so I can quickly grab colors that I was referencing before. And it just makes it a lot easier when you're drawing to just have a palette you can grab from really quickly. So I'm just going to do another shade of red here. And then I liked this weird navy blue, but there's another one there I want to try. And if you're ever comparing colors and you're unsure, you can always make another layer on top. And what I do for that is I'll make a swatch on top of it and see how different it looks. That one is actually the same. And if you hold with one finger down on top of a color, it'll basically do the eyedropper tool in Photoshop and let you select whatever color you want from that. So that's kind of nice. And I'm not sure how good the stream quality is either. What I'm seeing on screen looks awful, so I can't tell what's going on with that. But let me know. So I can't see any of that stuff. I don't have like enough monitors to view and check it out. So. All right, so that's everything I'm going to need. I'm going to go into these brushes now. And there's a lot of great brushes in here, different values of clusters and things like that to give you a good range of shading. I really like this one here. It's a little bit looser and it's a little harder to see everything, but when you're sketching with it, you can get a variation of stippled lines and it's pressure controllable, so you can actually work pretty quickly. We're going to start with filling in some color first. That's going to be the big thing. So we're going to start with this yellow, and I'm just going to go to different areas that I think should be yellow. Sorry, wrong layer again. So yeah, I'm just going to turn on the drawing assist or turn on reference, then the layer below it. Oh man, okay, I can do this. All right, so we're going to put the yellow there. I think that would look pretty cool. We're going to try... We'll try putting all the yellow down first and see if we think it should go anywhere else. I think right now it looks pretty good. I like the actual color itself. So we got a gap here. So we can just fix that gap. Go into our brush, back to our blotty liner. Just fill that in a little bit. And now we shouldn't have an issue while we're filling everything else in. And I think there is a shortcut now too where you can use the pen tool like the paint bucket tool in Photoshop. I don't know if that's true. I haven't found it yet, but someone was telling me that recently, and I really want to know if it's true because it would be super helpful. Okay, and this is definitely going to be a blue over here. Let's see. Now, see, that looks too dark, but I do like the color combo of that. I still think I think the navy's right, but I think the reds I'm still on the fence about. The dark red is a little hard to read things with, but I think it's such a... No, that's not too bad, actually. I like that. That looks pretty good. We'll do the opposite. We'll do red in the detailing of this one, and then we'll do the dark navy for the rest of it. I also don't have the drawing assist on anymore. I just have the reference layer on. The drawing assist would be a problem for sure. I think it's a little hard to color in like that, and there's really no need to, but I know some people are probably used to working a certain way. All right, so we got everything going on there. I gotta figure out like a way to make this whole stream background a little bit better. One of the other things too that I'm excited about is that I'm really close to reaching some of my subscriber goals on the channel. I had the goal set for like 1,000 subs was the goal, and we had like 70 days to do it or something. But I'm gonna try to do these smaller goals where I do about 50 or so for live streams each week. So if we can do like 50 a week, that'd be really cool. And I think it's a bit more like achievable doing those smaller goals than it is to just be like, yeah, we're only going to do this or like this amount. So I think that's what I'm going to stick with for the platform from now on. So get this eyeball blue in here. Now, one of the things with this texture, you can actually start painting it underneath. There's going to be some gaps of white that might look a little off. So that's all personal preference. I think it looks good. Some people don't. All right. Let's see. And the coloring process is actually really easy to overdo it. And this looks super rough because I'm using intentionally a really rough line to make everything. So it's not going to look super pretty in the beginning, and that's intentional. And that's just because I wanted something that's going to give a really clunky feel. And when I add the paper texture back on, we have it off right now so I can see. It looks more like an actual drawing, and once I start to add the highlights in, it'll actually help improve that look quite a bit. So we're just gonna keep rolling with it for now. And also when I'm color picking, the shadows are on top of my colors layer on the swatches. So I guess, well, I can try to move them up. Let me see if that, so if they're there, okay, that's a little better. But that's all that is I just wanted to have them so I could grab them quick. And then we're gonna do the red, and let's see. So this is the thing with the coloring process that can take some time when you don't really plan it out like this. I need to get better about just planning it, but when I do the live streams, I kind of just wing it and see what happens. It's a bit more fun for me personally, but I know it's not as professional, so I want to try to do that for you guys. See if I can get a little bit better quality going on. So I think I'm going to actually stick with the yellow. This is a really nice yellow. It kind of looks like the, it's a little bright, but it looks like this color called Goldenrod. It's an Eternal Inks, a tattooing company color that's really, really popular. All the yellows that I have in pretty much all my tattoos are that color. It's like really, really bright, so. And now normally this would be empty. This little section would actually just be metal work, and I would have like another piece here, but we're going to fill it in and make it look more solid. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like that. Now down here, there's usually like a red or a colored square. On the blade, it's usually red as well. This little blade tip. And then in here, it's usually another color. Yeah, thanks. I'm pumped about the Discord. I think you were the one that actually mentioned the Discord, and I said it was someone else on like the last stream. But thank you for it. It's been super fun. I looked into it a bit more of what you can do with it. It's really cool. So really pumped about it. Thanks for suggesting it. People seem to be having fun with it already. So. All right, so I'm going to grab the blue again. Going to put it down in here. And that looks pretty good so far. We're going to go into our shading now. We're going to go back on our other layers. Or we're going to make a layer, above the color layer. And this is going to be our shading layer. And normally I would label these, but I don't have the keyboard out. Well, I got you plugged. We could, and you're definitely more active. I think that other person didn't even join the Discord, so you can hold it down. let's see. So this one's like another weird one to kind of shade out. I'm gonna do just like a little light strokes. I'm gonna keep it pretty rough, but this is how these brushes work. You can get a decent amount of control, but I try to keep it pretty loose and layer over a few times, then I'll tap just the brush down to get like a really good effect and like more gradiating look. And I'll actually kind of whip it out while I'm pulling the strokes down, and that gives you like a nice transition, and it gives it a bit more of a realistic stippling effect too, because they're not perfect lines when you're working this loose. And then like slight circular patterns, I'll do that too really quick with a bit more pressure and throw it down towards the center. I'm not super happy with how that looks actually, so let's go back. Yeah, it doesn't look that good actually. While I'm looking at it. Welcome. Welcome to the live stream. So yeah, I'm just going to keep shading in different areas that I think need it. And it looks really heavily color saturated because I didn't draw in the highlights. I just dropped the color in. And I'll usually work with an eraser and I'll erase out highlights, or I'll make a clipping mask layer and do it that way. But these drawings are just for fun and they're not super serious, so I haven't built out folders and that whole structure like I typically would. So that's something I usually would do. I would kind of go in and plan out my highlights. If this were a real painting, I wouldn't just bomb it with color, because I'd want some of the negative space to represent highlights, like I have in the eye there. So I'm just shading in. It looks like this brush is just a little too heavy for how soft these lines are, so I'm going to switch to another one. And that's a bit of this process, is a little trial and error when you first start figuring out what brushes work. I don't want to scale it down. I like the looseness of it, but I think I'm just going to go with a slightly less pressured brush with less of a spread on there, so I can get a similar effect that I'm trying to achieve like I did in the previous ones. And then we have some weird lines in this. Clear that. Got some glitches going on. All right. Yeah, there's something about this I just don't like as much. I have some other ones in the gallery that I can show you guys what I'm talking about real quick, just as a reference. So you can see in these other drawings that I did the other day, like see how there's those highlights in there? That's what's going to really make this stand out on top of that really heavy, bold color. So let's get back to this current drawing. Okay, and it is scaled a little bit larger than the other drawing, so that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, it looks a little off. It's a little hard to read with all these heavy color block-ins like this, so I'm going to actually start to erase some of the color now, or maybe even add like a white highlight. And I use an off-white. It's got a little bit of gray into it, and it's a bit on the warmer side. And I'm going to be putting against some of these pretty dark colors, so we'll see how that goes. And I'll actually switch back over to the blotty liner brush, and I'll just line it over. It's like a light gray, so you can kind of see, like you can cut back and you can get like little highlight spots underneath, or you can do this on a separate layer if you want to turn them off. But typically when I'm painting in real life with traditional mediums, I wouldn't use this. There wouldn't be a need for me to do highlights. I would just use the paper itself, and I would just plan out my painting a little bit better. But this is just kind of going for it, winging it, no real plan. And it's kind of fun sometimes to do with an app like Procreate, because it's so easy to fix things if you don't like them. It's not the end of the world, and you're not wasting any materials, and it's not expensive to experiment. So that's one of the benefits of using a digital app like this. Even if you like to paint traditionally, you can still paint traditionally, but use Procreate as a tool to learn a lot of stuff. I used to. I use Cintiq a lot for my professional client work when I'm doing a lot of things that require me to work in Photoshop. And I still really like the Cintiq. I got the Cintiq before I ever thought an iPad was a tool that I could use. I had seen people using them for a while, and I thought, like, I don't know if I could use this. And it turned out to be like the biggest mistake. I wish I had invested in it sooner, but I'm glad that I just got the iPad that I did get. I ended up getting an iPad that's newer. It's like the newer one, and it feels like it's gonna be, a bit more evergreen than like an older model for me. So usually when I'm going to buy tech, I take my time, and I follow the photographer motto of buy nice, not buy twice. So when I buy equipment, I just wait and save up for the things that I can get. And before I was using the Cintiq, I actually had like a hand-me-down tablet, which was also an older Wacom tablet. It was like an Intuos tablet, but one of the first ones they ever made. And the pen pressure sensitivity it just didn't exist. But yeah, if you're looking, personally, I like the iPad, but it depends what you do. So I work as a professional illustrator and graphic designer for a few brands, and when I have to work heavily in Photoshop, I will use the tablet all the time when I have a project that requires it, or for simple like editing. And I've only had the iPad itself for like a month now. Like I haven't had it really long, so I've been learning Procreate, and there's so many things I'm seeing that people can do with the app that I just haven't learned yet. But I see the potential for it as a piece that might replace my Cintiq permanently in the future. Once they make this thing a bit more hardware friendly for certain applications, I don't see a need personally for myself to need the Cintiq any longer, which is a huge bummer because it's really expensive, and I really wish that I had bought an iPad instead of the Cintiq, to be honest with you, when I was looking at a new drawing surface. And it's a lot of preference. Like I know some people love the Cintiq, some people hate it. I know some people that love the Cintiq and they hate the iPad. It's all preference. At first, the iPad was weird to get used to, and now that I'm used to it, I couldn't see myself using another just tool like this. There isn't any other tool like this that works so well right out of the box. It's pretty much idiot proof. That's what I like, hardware I can just plug in. Well, if you already have the screen tablet, man, you can learn a lot of things on those tablets that you can't really do on an iPad yet. And that's the thing. I would learn as much as you can on whatever tools you have, because the best tools to use are the tools that you have at your disposal. It's more of a convenience thing for me, and I do like some of the features that are on the iPad. But I was working with the regular drawing tablet for years, and I was using one that didn't have real pen pressure sensitivity. It was just a regular drawing tablet that I could blur some things, and I would use it to do cutouts and stuff like that because there was no pen pressure sensitivity, but I learned how to use it to increase my workflow. And that's the biggest thing that you can really learn from using any of this stuff. So I keep it pretty low key when I'm trying to make work, and I've accumulated a lot of equipment over the years, but it's taken a long time. And in the beginning, I didn't have any of this stuff, and I still found ways to learn and make work. And now that I have the ability and means to get some of these things and write them off for my business, I do appreciate it. Like it's a useful tool for me still, but it's not the end all be all for me, in my opinion. Like I think having that other tablet, you're going to learn things on there. And when you switch to something else, you're going to have a much better time maybe. And I think everyone should maybe experience a tablet like that just to know how they work. And when they're on something else, they have a different feeling when they draw. They're not exactly the same. Yeah, that's a good point. That's one thing that you can't really do on the iPad yet. You can't do a lot of like 3D modeling stuff. There's not really many programs that you can do it efficiently. Yeah, that's true. There's definitely pros and cons to both. The main thing for me with the iPad is the level of convenience, and it's got an intuitive feel, but that's just every Apple product these days. It's they were designed specifically for that purpose to be convenient, whereas the Cintiqs are not the most convenient thing. I have a 13-inch version, and I wish I got the 16-inch version because the screen is so small. It's hard to work in with the frame on it. I can't pick it up as easily as I can the iPad because the cords are on it. So it makes it really uncomfortable for me to work with. And that's actually been an issue for me before where, like, I actually just got in a desk today, which I ordered like a month ago. It was a big purchase I've been putting off, but you guys saw if you watched the studio tour video, you saw my desk and you've seen that it's literally a giant U shape. And it's really hard to sit at for hours and hours. So I actually ended up getting a standing desk, which I'll be setting up hopefully tomorrow. The tabletop hasn't gotten here yet, but the legs are here for it. And I ordered it like a month ago, and I've been just waiting on it to come in. So I'm excited. I maybe release that studio tour a little early. A lot of things are changing over the next few weeks. The things I ordered months ago, they're just finally getting here. But yeah, the Cintiq it's hard to use for me in my space because it's really crammed. I have to like take it on and off my desk all the time. Yeah, the wires are terrible on the Cintiq, the design. They didn't do a really good job in my opinion, and I was really upset because I was looking forward to using the Cintiq more, and I thought that they would have figured all their wire issues. Yeah, I might be doing the Studio Tour 2.0 because I'm looking at all the stuff I have coming in that I ordered a really long time ago. And I was gonna cancel some of it, and it's like, oh, it's on the way. It'll be there like tomorrow, like today or tomorrow. I'm like, ah, damn it. All right, but I'm excited to get it in. So I got like an adjustable standing desk, and that's gonna be pretty exciting to use, and that'll actually make it a lot easier for me to work longer hours. I get really antsy sitting at this desk because it's so uncomfortable to sit at. So I'm looking forward to having the option to use this desk again and be a bit more productive. And it'll give me a lot of space, and I can take all this clutter that I currently have off my desk, and I'm switching to a slightly smaller desk because I don't have a lot of space in here. So we'll see. I'm excited for it. It could be the best thing. It could be really average. We'll find out. But I'm gonna film the whole process of setting up the desk and maybe film some work that I'm doing on it. But I have some illustration stuff I got to do for some clients, and I'm probably gonna film some of the stuff I'm doing. But I gotta see when I can release it if it's like a sensitive thing. Yeah, the stream's gonna be going for a little bit, a while longer. I'm gonna have everything. I'm just gonna go until I finish this. So I still got to throw in all the shading. I'm just doing highlights now just so I can see a little bit better. And then the stream will continue. I'm just experimenting now to see where I like highlights and if I like them where they're placed. Yeah, I thought the standing desk thing for a long time was a lot of hype. And when I was at Commerce, everything is those little tiny standing desks that are adjustable. And I never realized how comfortable it was to be able to just go from sitting down and working and then being able to just stand up and work instantly. It's such a game changer to have that ability to adjust like that. So I waited a while, and I was looking at the standing desks, and they're so damn expensive for the most part. And then I found like the autonomous brand, and I watched every possible video I could for months, and then finally decided I'm getting a new desk. It's mainly because I have really bad carpal tunnel issues that are starting to form in my wrist from not having an ergonomic workstation, and the things to fix that are terrifying, the surgeries and whatnot. So like I like hate to even talk about it because I just have the biggest fear of that. But I don't think I could ever handle what would go into that process because I do a lot of more traditional illustration as well. And if I lost the ability to do that comfortably, I'd be pretty devastated. So I'm trying to take my health a little bit more seriously. And that's one of the biggest things for me is the desk for sure is going to help a lot. Yeah, it's easy to get distracted and unmotivated, I feel that all the time, man. I think a lot of it is because there's a lot of things that are designed specifically to distract us nowadays. Every social media app is literally engineered for that purpose, for you to spend all your time on it and for you not to really engage. So I think that's one of the big things as well. And when you're sitting somewhere and you're uncomfortable, it's so much easier to get distracted and not focus because you're so frustrated with how you're sitting down or what's going on around you. It makes it difficult. It's hard for me to work from my apartment. I have a hard time focusing because my entire life is right next to me. You know, it's like all these things that I have to do that are not work related, but they still need to be done. It's like, oh, I got laundry piling up, or I got this, or I got to send out orders, and all these things that can come up sometimes, and it gets a little overwhelming, but it's just one of those things you have to try to find a way to separate it. What works for me is I use a timer system. So when I need to really get something done is I'll set a timer for an hour and a half, and I'll turn my phone off, or I'll put it like in airplane mode. I'll put headphones in, and I'll either listen to music or podcast. I'll turn off my Cintiq if I'm using it as a second monitor to watch stuff like YouTube or anything like that. And I'll turn off all the distractions, and I force myself to get through that first hour and a half. And then I'll take a break for like 20 minutes or like a half hour. I'll go for a skate and like skate down the street or go get a coffee or whatever. In that 20-minute stretch, I can do whatever I want, watch videos, whatever it is. And when that timer goes off again, I switch back into another hour and a half cycle. And then when I'm in that cycle, same deal. It's like, no, I got to be in it 100% or I'm not in it at all. And that's been really helpful for me in making lists of things I have to do and making them pretty short. I don't make super long lists anymore because there's a million things you have to do and you can't get them all done in a day. No matter how much you want to, you're not going to. So there's no point to stress like that. So I try to limit my stress level by being realistic about what I can achieve in the day. And I'm not the best at it. Like I still get frustrated and annoyed with myself if I feel like I haven't gotten enough work done for the day. But you got to try to be realistic with yourself. It's like not everyone is working as hard as they make themselves out to be working. Like there's a lot of people that kind of bullshit that stuff just to be like, I'm more productive, you know? And it's not a healthy thing. It's like you shouldn't have to be working that much constantly. Like I know a lot of people are struggling, but it's like if that's like how you measure your success, you're not necessarily successful. You're just making yourself more stressed out and tired. And for what? What's the gain in that? There's none. So I think it's being realistic about what you want to do and like what you want to achieve is the best thing you can do for yourself as a creative in general for like all this stuff. Animals in your yard is important. That is being productive. You're documenting some wildlife. I don't know if you guys saw the Instagram story I posted yesterday of the baby birds that hatched. Pretty important stuff. Gotta take time for the real things that matter. But no, it's like with the YouTube stuff, it's like you're creating content specifically so people can see what you're making. But I think as a whole, there's a lot of people that are on social media platforms that are like, you know, they're just kind of regular people and they're not necessarily making content. They're just trying to like find some form of acceptance socially. And it makes it a little weird, I think, when that becomes like the main focus of their life. And I get it. I've been there myself sometimes where I'm just like, oh, I got to make sure I post this every day and do this. And I'm like, I mess this stuff up all the time. And I used to get really bummed and like beat myself up about it. But I'm like, there's no point to get this upset. It's not that big a deal. But at the time when I was trying to take it all super serious, it's like, oh man, like I can't even believe I would live like that for a while. Yeah, the videos of people studying for 10 hours straight. I'm like, that's good. So you're doing what a lot of people do all the time, but you're filming it like other people don't do that either, you know? Like that's always weird to me, not to like shun anyone else's content or what they like to make or put out there, but that's not really exhilarating information for me. It's like I'm like, okay, like I can do that. Like sucks that you have to study this hard, and I hope you pass whatever you're trying to study for. But I think when it becomes like that's their it's like being the new rich, right? Where in the 80s and the 90s you see all the culture where it's like everyone had to appear rich. That was the cool thing. And now it's kind of like, oh, if you're not working 12 jobs and constantly on a hustle, like you're not successful or you're not going to be successful is complete bullshit. And it's something that's built into our culture now to kind of downplay the fact that it's like you need those multiple jobs. You don't want those multiple jobs. And it's like you're not willingly wanting to work those jobs to feel fulfillment in your life. It's like you kind of have to. A lot of people do, at least, where they have to work. I work like insane amount of hours each week, and it's because I do my own thing, and I'm in between contracts and all that. But people are like, oh, it's like so awesome and so like brave that you do those things. And it's like when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, it's not. It's just like I have to do it. There's no other choice, But I get it. Like I get why people are like that now, because it's sort of been pitched to us like if you're not doing this, you're not working hard enough. Yeah, work culture is bullshit. So I'm trying to get better about it myself because I am a workaholic, but that's just because I want to make as many things as I possibly can. But it's bad for my health for sure. Yeah, exactly. I'm happy to work the multiple jobs to stay self-employed, and that's what it is for me. It's I have to just to kind of get by and do my own thing. And everyone's like, "Oh, like how'd you figure out how to do this?" I'm like, "Well, I work out a lot, and then I pump all of my money that I have into it, and then even if it doesn't pay off, it's like I'm still trying to make new things at the end of the day." So yeah, I'm trying to get better about it. I'm starting to play more video games as a distraction. Conspiracy, there's always time for conspiracy moments. Feel free feel free to have discussions about that in the chat. I will not be mad at all. But no, it's not even that. I think it is sort of like that capitalism monster that people kind of make jokes about a lot. It's true. It's you're supposed to be constantly working. You're not necessarily, they don't want you to kind of question the reason you're working so hard for so little. It doesn't fit the model that they want. That's a common belief. I don't even think that's conspiracy. I think that's just now a sad fact of life. But it's starting to get better. I think people are more aware that that's an issue and that people are working harder than they've ever had to work for less. And hopefully it gets a little better. Try to keep it optimistic. It's like we all got the power to make changes, so we'll get it figured out. But that's the thing I always used to struggle with too. I'm like, oh, it's all rigged, like the world's unfair, and it is, but it's unfair for everybody. And I think that's the big misconception is like I didn't grow up with a lot. A lot of my friends didn't grow up with a lot. And one of the things I hear a lot when I actually get close to people, it's like, oh, like you've had it really hard, and you're doing so well now, and like I'm so proud, and this and that. And I'm like, it's really not that hard, and it's like it's just everyone's dealing with the same thing. It's just a lot of people you'll meet when you live in a city and you don't necessarily come from money. You hear that stuff a lot and they're like, oh, like I can't believe you survived. It's like, well, it's like everyone does this. There's so many people that this affects. And I think it is something that's not talked about in art in general, because a lot of people want to kind of have this facade that they're always kind of crushing it, which is cool. I'm like, good for you, but it's not how it works. Yeah, I think that's true. Sometimes the work to what you would consider like paying off, like reaping rewards. I get that, but when you're working really hard to develop a craft, it's honestly very beneficial, even though it feels miserable and you have bills due and nothing seems like it's going right. And I have to tell myself this all the time because I'm a super cynical, sarcastic asshole. At any chance I'm given, I will be. But the thing is, I need to also try to tell myself that this is not something that I can control and I need to find ways to work through it. And it's just not giving up on your beliefs and your dreams is super important. And I think that's the thing that people don't realize is you've been through worse. You're going to go through worse again, and you're still going to come out the other side, even though it seems impossible right now that you can't get ahead or whatever it may be. Like, you're going to figure it out. You're going to get through it because you've done it before. It just sucks because you're tired of doing it. So I think the biggest thing for any artist starting out, I wasn't really making money with art for a long time. I'm still not really making money with art. I spent pretty much my entire life savings along with like all the Kickstarter money I made for my toys just to get the toys made. And then I had a huge hiccup that came up in manufacturing where I had to double it. So I had to take out a loan just to pay for the toys. But I refused to fail on something I worked so hard on. And I put myself in a lot of financial stress to achieve something. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. For me, at least, it's like I'm going to do what it takes to achieve the goal. And working really hard and putting in that sacrifice has definitely put a strain on parts of my life. But unfortunately, like, they're important enough for me to take those risks and force myself to kind of deal with that. And it's not financially the smartest thing to do. And I'm not telling anyone they should do that, but you need to put in the hard work, because even though you don't think it's paying off financially, it's definitely helping you build as a person and also as a creative person. More specifically, you're going to develop skill set when you're in the hardest of times and you feel like your work sucks or things aren't working out or you're not getting clients or whatever it may be. Everyone that freelances, anyone that does art for a living faces that. And it's not like a once in a while thing. It's a daily thing. And because of the way social media is set up and for how some of the more successful people on social media are and how they kind of portray their lives and their lifestyles, they're not achievable things for most people because they don't have the resources to live the way that they're living. And that's a really dangerous thing. So I think I want to try to be as transparent with all the stuff that I'm doing as much as I'm comfortable with sharing, because it's my personal life as well. It's like I don't feel like I should need to share all of it, but I think it is important that people realize it's like a lot of that is not real. And that's totally fine. It's entertainment. They're doing it to create a content and things that are appealing to their followers. But I think people that are in a situation just starting out, don't take that stuff super literal that they're, crushing it all the time and that you need to be doing the same things they're doing to be successful, because you don't. Like, I'll get like a little personal than I normally would about some of that. I think for me, like, I've had some really hard times, and one of my closest friends, Andre, one of my old roommates, we were literally so poor that we were eating pizza from a dumpster like a few times a week. Like, not even, it wasn't like, oh, this is like, a hard time right now. It was literally a few times a week. That's not a joke. So upper crust pizza, thank you for putting the boxes on top at the end of the night and not throwing them in the trash, because you kept my ass fed for years. That's how bad it was for us, because we lived in a city where the cost of living, like, just to survive is like, you need to make like $50K a year. And we were both working multiple jobs, and maybe at the end of the year we would make like 40 grand for the entire year. And we were just paying astronomical prices to live, and just the wealth divide in the city was pretty apparent. And we were just hustling super hard, and we wouldn't eat sometimes for like a few days. We'd like eat every few days. We'd go on wherever we could find food, wherever we could find things that would pay for resources. But we never stopped working, because all the money we were making went into the craft of what we wanted to do with our lives. And it didn't necessarily pay off right away. I mean, I'm just starting to feel like any of that stuff is paying off now, but the hard work I put in then and the dedication I had then helped shape and mold my ability to work in uncomfortable situations now. And I can look at things now and I still get bummed out. I still get stressed, but it's experiences I wouldn't trade for anything. Those things are awful and they sound really terrible when, you might not have to face something like that, but a lot of people do. And I think that's something that's not talked about, like the starving artist thing. Yes, it's a real thing, and yeah, it's kind of a joke, and people, make fun of it, and it's like a meme, but it is a real thing. Like, a lot of people are in extreme states of poverty and they still want to make art, and you can, but it's like you need to have a support system of people around you to sort of help you. And if you don't have that, find people that are in a similar situation and pull your resources together. Pull the little you have together, and that's going to really make it so you can grow as a person. And I think that's what I want to do with like the YouTube channel, and I want to do with the Discord thing. Is like I want people to just have a place they can comfortably share their work and not have to worry about the criticisms of social media. So if you guys want to share work on there, please share it. If you want to invite people to it, go ahead. Like I'm totally open to that. I don't want it to be like a spammy place for people to try to like sell stuff, but if you want to just ask for opinions without the scope of Instagram, trying to meet those standards, go for it. If you have questions, I want to try to answer any questions I get. As I get quite a few, so I want to try to always answer them. Let me read some of the chat too, because I've just been ranting for like forever. Yeah, dude, it definitely was pretty grime. It was pretty rough. But it was what I had to do at the time. And we were pretty lucky. So like, there's a pizza chain here. We would like go behind, like at night when they were closing, and I think they caught on pretty quickly that people were going there to like get food, and they would just leave all the food on top in a box, like on top of their dumpster. So we'd grab it at night, we'd throw it in our oven and leave it there for days because we like didn't have a working fridge. For a while we did, and then it like broke, and that was like what we did for food for a lot of the time. And I didn't tell a lot of people I was super close with, or my family or anything, because it's embarrassing. But now that I'm past it, it's like I can look back and like, that's crazy, where I could have just asked for help from my friends or whatever. And it was kind of like that stubborn thing where like, I'm going to do it on my own. I'm not going to ask for help, or I'm not going to ask for this and that. And now I'm older and I realize I'm like, that's so stupid. I could be so much further ahead if I just like kind of shared what I was dealing with, or, did certain things. But like I said, those experiences have shaped me in a way that I'm not going to be able to, I couldn't have had a similar mindset if I had experienced it any other way, trying to struggle like that just to have the ability to make something, not to necessarily like just have a place to live. And I think it's I don't know, it's important. I think that's something that those hardships are going to be, once you've finally made it at something, those hardships are going to be the thing you look back on as the best thing that happened to you for your creative career, in a sense that you can handle things you didn't think you could handle before. And yeah, no, that's the thing. Like with the toy world stuff, a lot of people keep secrets because it's like a niche thing and they're afraid. Oh, sick. We just got an order on the shop. Thanks somebody if you're on the stream. That's that's like been a huge thing for a long time. Like a lot of people, they start gatekeeping and they don't mean to, because they've experienced it themselves and they're frustrated because they had to learn it, and they had to learn it on their own, and no one wanted to share their process and this, that, and the other thing. And I get it. It sucks, but I'm trying to help any way I can by sharing whatever it is. Like, people have questions about all sorts of things, and I want to try to facilitate that any way possible. And it's hard to do. And like, yeah, Lit Toys kills it, by the way. Anyone that's new to the stream, you can all follow each other's social media. If you want to share the links in the comments, definitely do it, or like do it on the Discord or whatever. But it's cool, like to have the ability to ask someone that you follow or work that you admire, like ask them personal questions. And it's hard. Like I get a lot of DMs all the time asking me all sorts of things, and I try to answer them the best I can, but it is hard to answer them all. So I think that's the other thing I'm excited about the Discord, is just to put my most commonly asked questions on there, or like try to answer them on live streams will be something I might try to do on a weekly basis. Just keep it really simple and just try to help people out. And I don't know, like I want to try to have some fun too. I don't know if you guys actually had a chance to check out things over on the Discord yet, but for anyone that skates, I'm doing a weekly game of skate on there, which will be fun. Yeah, that's common. I think the other thing too, it's hard for people to like share how products are made if they don't make them themselves. So like I think it's people don't want to give up contacts, and that's something in the manufacturing world that's kind of important only for certain cases, because some people can be harmful to a manufacturing setup without realizing it when they're first starting out. So like people ask me constantly for the factories that I work with for making toys, and I tell them like this factory contacted me, and I will contact the person that contacted me to contact you. Because if I'm just giving out my personal rep that I'm working with, they get inundated with all these emails where people might not necessarily know what goes into making a toy and what costs are associated with it, and constantly be emailing them like, hey, like I want to make this toy, and then all of a sudden they're getting all the pricing and the information, and they're absolutely terrified, and they're like, oh, I can't believe like Wolf sent me here to fucking deal with this guy who's wants to charge me all this money I don't have to do this thing I want to do. And then they get like really upset, and then the rep comes down at me. So I try to make it where it's like on the rep side, and I don't want to be like a liaison. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to. And that's one of the things that's hard for me when answering some questions, because I get that a lot where people are like, oh, like, why don't you share like your factory? I'm like, listen, the guy I work with in the factory, like I'll ask him first before I like give out contact stuff, just because, I don't know how to handle all that stuff and like give it to him where he's not going to get inundated with all this stuff for people that might be half serious or like just trying to dabble in it to get pricing. Like I'll share like the cost of things when I do them and whatnot. But yeah, that is tricky, and I think that's hard for a lot of creatives to do, because it's just like I don't know what to say or what to do, because what your expenses are going to be different than mine. Your design's different. This is different. There's like a lot of factors in manufacturing, so that's hard. But when it comes to like other general things, I like obviously like I'm going to share everything. Right. Yeah, no, I had that same thing when I first had someone reach out to me about doing manufacturing, and I was like, I worked in manufacturing at the time, so I knew what I was kind of getting into, and that's the only reason I probably really did it. And I had like a few really supportive people that were just like, dude, just do it. Just like make a toy. People will buy it. And like some people have bought it. I still have like hundreds of them sitting, but it's because like I can't go and travel and really show it to a lot of people because it's very niche. But yeah, dude, it's crazy. Making toys is wild. But making pins and stuff is super easy. And like making stickers and stuff like that. Like I actually might try to do more videos on that process. I've done like a few like really shitty ones where they're not the best quality. Just to show people, like I made a video on how I make stencils and like how I make sign props and all that. They're all in the channel, but they're older videos now. Start with resins if you're yeah. So I would do resin toys if you're just getting into toys. That's how I started. That's how Life is Terrible Toys is doing his thing. Like I would start with resins and things like that, and learning casting and sculpting. And honestly, I like the resin stuff a bit more than the vinyl, to be honest with you, because you have more control over it, and it's all kind of up to you to make it. And once you learn a lot of those things, when you get into the world of manufacturing, you can figure out what's worth your time to have someone else do, and what's worth, you doing on your own. So that I think that's actually like an invaluable skill to have when it comes to making any product, is if you can at least make a version or an iteration of the idea you have in your head, you will progress substantially faster than just kind of working with a factory right away. Yes, I worked with a screen print shop for a while, and that's common because a lot of people don't really understand the labor. And that's one of the things when I was a tattoo apprentice I learned pretty quickly, was that you need to kind of educate people, and you need to educate clients all the time. You need to tell them why things are the cost they are, and you got to try to just be positive about it. And learning to say no to things is really hard when you're struggling, and I still struggle with that. But I think that's a big issue. That's not really talked about either, is that like everyone's like, oh, I got all this work coming in. It's like what it takes to get that work sometimes is insane. And people just don't get it. But yeah, the discount thing and this and that, pick and choose your battles. Like I try to do what I can for causes and stuff I like when I can afford to do so. But right now it's a little financially difficult for me to do it. So yeah, it's a little hard. Let me kind of catch up in the chat here. Sorry, I've been ranting again. Yeah, man, I actually liked making pins, and my experience was just finding a manufacturer, finding this, and now it's easier. There's so many things that have popped up, but there are a lot of them are just random people that are working with a company overseas to make the pins, and they have to charge a markup, and it's just they're a consultant. But sometimes when you're first starting out, that's the best thing you can do for yourself, because you have too many headaches, and if you're spending all your time focusing on just trying to work with a factory when you could be making art or making work or anything like that, that's when you want to delegate. Once you have the ability and the following enough to start a way to delegate work so you can focus on more important things like actually making art, it's the biggest thing that's going to help you out. That's what I had to come to terms with, because I'm like, I'm going to just do it myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my own thing. Like, I don't, like, fuck this. I don't need anybody. I'm going to do it all on my own. And that was the dumbest thing I ever did in my life, was just not realizing, like, it's okay. It's like I still made the art. It's like it's not the end of the world if there's another company that's going to make other things for me. I still designed this. Like, I still made this. I don't need to print it all myself. It's a weird feeling. I think it's part of like the inner skateboarder and like hardcore kid in me, where it's like I can do it myself. I don't need anyone else to make it for me. I can do it on the cheap. But once you start delegating and you free up some time for yourself to make other shit, it's so much easier on you. Your whole mental state changes, and you're just like, wow, that was amazing. Someone else did all this crazy work. Yeah, if you get into screen printing, that's one of those jobs where you'll start making your own stuff, and then once people realize you screen print, you're going to make more money printing other people's shit. It happens. That's actually, I started a clothing company a few years ago, and I started getting a lot of designs ripped off. So I kind of like took a break and started printing other people's jobs and things like that when they needed help or like overflow. And then I ended up just like, now I'm just the screen printer. And now that's all I do. So like if you get the equipment and you can find a way to balance your time and potential client work and offset your costs and expenses by doing jobs, I highly recommend it. And it's a great skill to have. And it's a pretty low cost to start nowadays compared to what it used to be. You don't need like crazy accurate software. You don't need all that shit like you used to need. Accurate software is still important for certain things if you're printing like heavy halftones and things like that, but a license for that program is over 10 grand, sometimes like a year. So it's intimidating for people to start, but you can get by with really little in the beginning of screen printing. And I actually was going to do a video on how to make a simple vacuum table out of things you can get at an art supply store and a hardware store. So I've been thinking about it for a while, and I want to do posters again myself. So maybe that will be one of the videos I'm doing in a couple weeks when I have some more funds freed up. Yeah, so for producing pins, currently there's no U.S. enamel pin manufacturing at all, to my knowledge. It's not done here. It's like with toys as well. There's companies that produce certain parts in the U.S., but they're not at a scalable thing, and they're typically a niche for the toys they're making only. They're not manufacturing for other people. Same thing with enamel pins. If there is anyone doing it in the U.S., they're doing it for themselves and not for other people because the cost is so high. So I work with a handful of different companies to produce different quality of work for pins and other things that I'll manufacture overseas, just because it's the only choice. But when it comes to printing anything or anything that I can do in the U.S., I try to do in the U.S. because it's helpful for the overall industry as a whole to have the printing here done as close to home as possible, and there's more control. And you can get phenomenal things made in China. I think the problem is there's a misconception about that because of the constant war on employment, right? Like people needing jobs and needing work, but you just need to be specific, because if you don't speak the language, there's a language barrier, and they're trying to get the work done as quickly and as affordable as possible. So unless you specify things specifically, they're going to make decisions and creative decisions for you unless you're really specific. So I think if it's your first time talking to a factory and you're a little kind of uneasy about it, always try to get a sample if you can. You will have to pay for the sample to get here. You will have to do all that stuff out of pocket. You will need to kind of check what they've done in the past if you're that worried about it. And what I would do is be as specific as possible about everything and get all the information up front, and really take detailed notes when they talk about pricing. And you can haggle with them, like they're used to that. That's how it's kind of done in China when it comes to a lot of things. So it's not uncommon to kind of haggle a price down and kind of work out deals. I do that all the time, and you should be kind of haggling the price and comparing prices, and comparing quality and what's acceptable for you and your standards. I unfortunately have set my standards too high for everything. So now I spend a lot of time like looking through samples, and I'm like, no, I need this, and that. If it's not perfect, I'm not doing it. So I get a little annoying for the factories I work with. They don't like emails from me when I have to have something fixed. But you got to do that to make sure you're getting exactly what you need and what you want. All right, so this was pretty good, actually. I'm like pretty happy with this dagger layout. Super fun stream. I'm gonna keep going. Actually, I kind of want to keep drawing. Yeah, I'm having a good time. This is sick. Do you guys have any other suggestions of Flash you want to see, or like other art I can do in this sort of style? I've done a moon so far. I did a peony flower, and then I did a rose. But I can draw something like on the spot if you guys want. Having a good time. We got 4 people watching now, so yeah, I can do kind of whatever. If you want to throw suggestions in the chat, feel free, and I will try to do some of those drawings. And the images look a little distorted just because of whatever's going on with this application. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm trying to make the streams better quality. Right now I'm just using the cheapest softwares I can find, and I actually had to invest in like a license to use this screen app sharing software to show you the iPad. So I actually literally bought it like 5 minutes before the stream because my free trial expired, and that was actually all due to the funding from everyone on the stream. So thank you guys. A hand or a candle? Let's do a candle because I suck at drawing hands. On the spot, I had to it takes me a while to draw hands. I'm being 100% on that one. I did a candle, like a sort of a candle, in a previous video, but it wasn't really in this style. So let's do that. We'll do a candle. And what else we got? Any other suggestions on there? Let me refresh this real quick. Okay, Kappa, let me pull up some references. Wait, I think you explained to me last time what a kappa was, and I felt super stupid, and I should have known what it was. And I'm totally spacing on it now, because it's like there's a lot of like weird sportswear brands with the name, and I just don't even know what it is. Let me see. I'm looking up images now. Oh, right, the monsters. Oh God, I'm so dumb. And that's like the weird little like frog guys. I don't know the lore about them super well. That would be sick. Let's start with a candle, and then we'll do like a kappa. I gotta get like an image of one. Yeah, it's sick. I want to do the folklore stuff. Would be cool to do. Animal Crossing. I don't have a Switch. One day, once I get the stream stuff, like all the stuff for the streams upgraded, and I finally buy like a good camera, once I have some more freed money, I will be buying a Switch, and I will play Animal Crossing with all you guys. Because all my friends play, and they're like, yo, you got to get a Switch, and you got to start playing Animal Crossing. I don't know if I want to shade into this blade. I feel like I need to do something. Let me just like throw like a little bit of whip in there. But yeah, Animal Crossing, sick. I wish I could play it right now because everyone's having such a good time. I'm just like pumped that there's like another Animal Crossing game. I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil, the release of the remake of Resident Evil 3. Beat it in like a day because every Capcom game, that's just how I do it. Can binge play through it really fast, and then I'm like, oh man, it's over. And then get like unlock everything, and then you're like, all right, now what? Like trying to play Call of Duty, but I'm the worst. That's the most metal description I've ever heard of a. So like I feel like I've heard some of the lore behind them, but there's just so many different variations over the ages of all of the mythology in Japan, where it's like depending on what era it is. But that's sick. I like that idea completely. I don't want to get eaten by a turtle. It would bum me out. I think a lot of people were hating on Resident Evil 3 because they have expectations for it to be a completely reimagined thing. And it is like the way that they have Carlos and like other characters throughout the game, it's different than I think they want it to be. So I don't know. People get offended about the dumbest shit nowadays when it comes to video games. I'm like, just can't you just play the game and enjoy the hard work? All right, so I'm gonna say this dagger is done. Get rid of this layer here. Yep, looks like we got some stray artifacts. Let's clean those up really quick. Find what layer they're on. I think they're on this one. There we go. So yeah, that's the dagger. It looks pretty good. I think the black still looks a little off on the shading layer, so I'm gonna clean that up real fast. Yeah, it still just doesn't look right, but that's all right. Yeah, that's fine. I think that could do without the shading on the blade. And a candle, I can draw a candle in like 5 minutes. I draw so many candles. Yep. No, there's a lot of crazy things and a lot of the Japanese folklore. I actually did that illustration when I first got the iPad. My first like real illustration with the iPad. I can actually show you guys. I'll show you real quick on this on the screen. Was this guy? I did a kitsune, just like a fox spirit, and it's like a mischievous asshole. So I'm pumped about that. But yeah, this is the one I did in Procreate. This took a long time to draw and render out, but I would love to maybe do a live stream of something like this. It's a whole process. I have the time lapse. I got to edit it down, and I will be posting all the time lapses of this and some other things I've been working on in Procreate. Let's see, what else do I have? I have the Eat Your Children collab, which is awesome, and I just didn't get to finish it. And then there's this other Japanese demon that the name is escaping me right now, and I cannot remember what these are called, and I feel really dumb and like a really ignorant white person for not remembering what this is called. It's like another Japanese demon, and it's like a bird. They have like a bird face, and like they've shifted and adapted over the centuries to have like other interpretations. But I was working on that, but I just hated the colors of it, and I spent all this time on it. It was just like whack. I'm like, all right, fuck this thing. And then I have this piece here, which I haven't finished. Well, it's done. I gotta edit it down. Oh, the screen is frozen. Oh man, 1 second. Let me check the source. Sorry guys. I think there's probably just an issue on Streamlabs. Let's see. Yeah, the captures. We got a frame rate loss. Uh-oh. Let me try to fix that really quick. We dropped down on 50 frames. So I just got to go and I got to recapture the iPad. Hit that and let's see what we got here. All right, yeah, screen mirroring just booted out. Let me just reconnect that. I'm sorry about that, guys. Working on creating the window now. Yeah, let me just run some power to the iPad because that might be the issue too. So yeah, we're having just some connectivity issues with my iPad. This happens occasionally, I guess. I don't know what's going on with it. Let me close some stuff and see if I can get it working. Give me just 1 second. I'm sorry, guys. It's like a big issue with all the technology I have right now, and I don't know what's been going on with it. Sometimes it's just the air server link just doesn't want to work. All right, I'm gonna just close it really quickly, and then we'll just try it again and see if we can get it to work. Screen mirroring. You guys aren't seeing anything. All right. Okay, so it should be up in a minute. Just restarted the app. I literally just paid for a license for this. I'm so mad it's not working. It was like kind of expensive. It was like $40 for like a license. All right. So it says we're mirroring now, and I just got to create a new link to it. So let me just find that. 1 second here. Man, I feel so bad. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, it's Austin. He's made it in the chat. As soon as my iPad starts glitching out, he's here. All right, 1 second. I'm gonna figure it out. Austin caused some trouble in the chat. Let's see. Where is this thing? All right, I gotta try closing it down again and then making a new capture window and doing all this bullshit. Okay. Screen mirroring. Come on. I don't even know my internet provider. I believe it's also Comcast, and they're trash here in Boston. And they're always like, you could upgrade for a lot of money and get some pretty mediocre results in return. I'm like, that sounds like a plan, guys. Thanks for helping out. It might just turn into an ASMR stream for a minute while I type with my mechanical keyboard. So let's see. It's still not working. All right, opening up Air Server again. All right. So it says that it's mirroring, but I'm not seeing the window pop up. So I think there's just there's some form of connection issue I'm not seeing. And all the screens aren't showing up. Let me just try to find them all and just gather all my screens really quick. All right. Yeah, so that's not working either. All right, I'm going to try just deleting this capture and making a new one. So we're just going to add a source, and then I'll see if it'll let me capture the iPad directly again. Window capture, add source. Add a new source. Yeah, this has been the struggle where you do all those workarounds and you don't pay for any of the it's getting back hacked. I don't know what that means. Doesn't sound good. Streamlabs OBS menu bar. 1 second, guys. Oh, 7 people here and it's not working. Crap. Yeah, back hacked. I don't know. That sounds scary. That doesn't sound good at all. Oh man. Oh, hey, we got a new subscriber on the channel too. Thank you. It's a new subscriber. That's awesome. Let's see. Or did we not? No, we didn't. Shit. Okay, so I think this is it. I think we got it. And let me just delete this one here. Okay, so I think we should be good in a second. It says that it's capturing. It's not though. Yeah, it's still not capturing. God damn it. Oh my god. Why isn't this working? Yeah, so it's just not opening a window to share everything right now. So I think I got to try. Let me try just doing this one more time. If it doesn't end up working, I will restart the stream. But give me just like another minute because I think it's literally just a simple issue I need to figure out with Air Server. So there's just a connection issue that it's having with the iPad. So I'm going to try plugging in the iPad directly into a port on the computer. And that might help with some of the latency because it's just doing it through a screen share application with Bluetooth. And that's probably not helping out at all. It's just a convenience thing. But give me just a second and I'm going to kind of change everything. I'm going to just put everything on a pause stream. I'll be right back. It's going to take me like a minute. I'll keep the mic on. Okay, so on the back of like my iMac, I don't have a lot of ports, and that's been an issue. I have like a hard drive and some other ports here. There's not a lot of... There we go. Okay. All right, so let's see if that helps, and hopefully it does. I need to get like a new I/O connection on the back of my iPad. So what I think is happening is that this like the Bluetooth is not connecting, and now that I plug this in, let's see if this works now. I don't know how like Twitch streamers do it. I haven't been able to figure out Twitch at all, and I think that's... All right, are we back? We're good. I think we're good. Okay. Sick. Okay. It's showing up at least on my screen. Sorry about that, guys. That sucks. And let me just get back on here. And there's a little bit of lag. Sorry about that too. Still working on it. Okay, there we go. All right, stick it up. Thank you guys for sticking around. I'm really sorry. That sucks. I don't even remember what I was showing you guys. Oh, I was showing, I think I was showing you like some other things I was doing. Like this Bela Lugosi illustration I made. I actually really like this a lot. If you guys aren't familiar who he is, he's the original, one of the original Draculas. The most famous Dracula is the Universal Dracula. But total hero of mine, and definitely one of my favorite Universal monsters. But this was a painting I did, and it's like really rendered and just lots of detail, and I just kind of really freaked out about this thing. But it was awesome. Like I had to use like a reference, and I just wanted to practice rendering on here, and I actually can show you guys live, which is one of the cool things. You can actually show all of the replay videos. So if you go into like preferences, you go into the time-lapse replay, and this will show you, this is quite a few things. I don't know if I can speed this up. So this is actually when I was trying to draw that other monster, and I was sketching out all these different things and just messing around. Like this is when I first got Procreate. This is like some of the first drawings. You had a sick life. If you were Vlad the Impaler, you were pretty metal. It was you and what was the other, like that queen or like noble woman? Bela Lugosi is dead, and it's one of my favorite songs. So, Bauhaus Forever on the Wolf Pits channel. I wish I could play music during streams. That'd be sick. I know that's like what Discord is also for, but I don't know how to figure out the music streaming. So that's if anyone does know how to do that stuff, and you want to help out on the Wolf Pits Discord channel, let me know. I need help on there because I'm a total idiot when it comes to that. But the simple stuff like making pages and posting memes, I got that shit on lock. It looks pretty good. Let me open up Discord too. But there's like a way where you guys should be able to play music while I'm streaming, and you don't have to listen to my voice, and you just look at the pretty images the whole time. Let me see. So yeah, one of the other cool things about this with the time-lapse setting, this time is going to go on forever because I spent so much time on this thing. But being able to use blending modes like you can use in Photoshop gives you like really nice color. Sorry, I've been like talking away from the mic. Gives you really nice color options. And I was just experimenting here because it was my first time really diving deep into a rendering on the app. But you can see as I started with an image and I did like a fast, rough sketch around it with the tracing. And that's what a lot of painters do when they want to paint an image or a portrait to save time. Why redraw something 1,000 times when I don't need to do that? So the goal was just kind of to create a stylized version, like how a lot of inking illustrators will go about doing portraits. Is they'll take some tracing, they'll do a fast sketch over it, they'll tweak it off of the sketch to get it how they want it, then they'll start rendering it out with lots of detail. And I used a lot of gray tones and everything to kind of work this out. But it's kind of a cool thing, and I feel like this is going to take forever, and I'm sorry, I don't think I can speed up I can. There we go. So you can kind of see like my process a little bit, and did all like that shading and all the gray area, worked on the hair, and then this is the interesting stuff, the color mapping. So right here is where I started experimenting and doing all those blending modes and using those areas of the face to kind of create those tones and values, manipulating the skin tones more. Like the coolest thing on this whole illustration is the eyes. And those are the fastest things for me to illustrate and like paint in here, but that's kind of it. And then I just kind of was experimenting with the colors, because in the actual film, obviously it's in black and white, but the colors they've always been kind of debated. And yeah, then I made those letters really fast, but pretty awesome, but it took a long time. It's a lot of hours on that one. And then the kitsune mask is kind of like the same deal, but I need to kind of go through that because I think I lost some of the recording, so I got to see if I can find, I don't know, I got to go in the settings as a way to do it. But I also have these recent drawings. I'll just play one of these. These are pretty fast, so these are all done in the same kind of fashion and like what we did tonight. And then got the candle coming up, and then we're going to do some of those folklore demons. Yeah, once you get used to it, it's so convenient. Oh, so this is the time lapse from before. All right, we'll keep it going. Hang on. I should like watch these beforehand. So this is actually the brush kit that I'm using from Procreate Texture. So this is like their little video of how they made their thing. This is me adding highlights from a past drawing that's in another video, saved on a different file. But we'll get past that. All right, so we'll do the moon drawing really quick. So start with a circle, and this is it. Like the best part about having the iPad compared to the Cintiq is this ability here of just being able to work with everything in one cohesive thing is amazing. So this was a really fast drawing for me. I actually did all three of those drawings when I was really tired and couldn't focus. I was just kind of messing around, and I was really happy with how these turned out. But you can kind of see how easy it is to work with just on the spot and make something really, really awesome. And a bunch of people really like this. I might turn this into something for like prints or merch, because everyone's been asking about it. And they're like, oh, like a few people wanted to get this tattooed, which is awesome. So that'd be rad. If you do get tattooed with any of my work, just like let me know. And I would prefer it if you're going to do that, you donate to some charity. And I don't really care what the charity is, as long as it's not like some really, really shitty one that's like against things I'm against. So like preferably MSPCA. You want to donate to animals, awesome. Or if you want to donate to like any like child service programs, and the back catalog as well. That's another one I would be totally cool if anyone wants to, get things tattooed. Like you don't need to pay me money. Like pay your artist, and then pay if you're gonna like, want to give me money, donate it to one of those charities instead. That would be really cool. And let me know, because like that would be awesome. I would love to know what charities you're donating to. That'd be sick. All right, so we've finished this one. We're gonna do a new one now. So in the chat, sorry, got on a little rant there. Got a little hyped. We'll make a new canvas, so we'll just duplicate this one. And I'm just gonna drag it out real quick so I don't accidentally mess it up. So just drag one of the duplicates out of this sketchbook thing, and then I'll put it in this stack over here. And let's get drawing. So we got a candle. That's the next one. So we're gonna just clear this whole thing because we saved it, so it's fine. We don't need any of this stuff anymore. And we'll do the candle sketch. We'll do the Japanese demon. Let's just keep going. This has been like a fun stream. And we got 6 people, it says, or 5 people. The stream's growing. I keep seeing it like touch 7. That's the most people I've had on a stream ever. So that's rad. Thanks for coming out, guys. It's pretty sick. Let's see. Start with a line layer. Gotta get a sip of my non-sponsored water. Okay, so we're gonna do the candle first. I always sketch in red. Out of all of the bajillion brushes I've downloaded, my favorite brush still the sketch is the Procreate pencil. It's the best one, in my opinion. All right, so we got this. We're gonna do the candle. I have the symmetry turned on right now. I'm gonna turn. I'll do that real quick just for the base of like the actual structure. So let me go on a layer and turn drawing assist on. So we'll just get 2 different lines. We'll use the kind of like parallel thing to just create the structure and all that. Now it just looks like a mad Gumby. Okay, sorry, I'll take it seriously now. We'll keep it there as a reference. We'll see if we can sneak Mad Gumby in there somehow. All right, so with the candles, you obviously want to figure out where the flame and where the wind and all that is going. I usually always draw mine like this because I'm left-handed, so that's why I always draw this in that direction. It's just kind of how I do things because I'm left-handed. So that's why I always draw them in this direction versus the other direction. And I don't mean to do that. I just do. It's just like a habit thing. So with the candle, you want to make sure that you can show that obviously you want the drips on there. You want to have some shadows in specific places to really emphasize that it's a candle. And you can do that with a few different techniques, whether it be adding highlights or creating other details with coloring and shading that way, and using color and negative space to really give it more depth. And then also on a candle, you don't want to have super smooth lines like this if you're trying to, well, it depends what you're going for. I always want my candles to look like they're straight up out of a horror movie, and that's just the look I think that looks the best. So I'll do the drips like onto the ground, and I'll try to figure out where I'm going to have everything spilling over and where the drips are going to be the heaviest. And having different size drips is also important. I feel like when I see a lot of tattoos of candles that were done really quickly, it's just like, here's a giant drip, and they're all giant drips, and if you don't fuck with giant drips, then get out. So I think having some variation is going to be helpful. I also got to figure out if I can swear in streams. I keep forgetting. I know it's like a bad thing, but sorry. There we go. Yeah, so just keep kind of sketching it out. I just like flesh them out and see what looks good to me. It doesn't always have to be perfect, but you don't have to use every single one of these lines. You can really expand it outward. And it's just really figuring out what's going to work best for you. And also adding drips behind. Like, you know, having stuff in the foreground and background really gives you a nice dynamic look, even for something as simple as this, like a simple candle drawing. So I got most of the shape laid out. I don't like how this is going here. I'm not going to erase it. I'm going to actually just make another decision in a new color on a separate layer. And I think I can do one more back here. It can be defined. And we'll do a little nub thing. That looks weird. All right. There we go. And then we can either do flames or no flames. I got $5 worth of curse money. Yes, did someone just donate and I not notice? If you did, thank you. I can't like hear the live things happening. Yeah, curse money. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, ordered a toy. Welcome to the club on having a very limited piece. There's probably a few people in the chat that got one. I know Austin's got one. He made it pretty rad. You should check out his video on it. It's pretty sick. And if you got one that you can customize, you should paint it. I think people should paint more of my toys. Heading to Amsterdam. All right. Well, I'll pack it up first thing tomorrow and get it to the post. You caught it just in time when I go to the post office, so it's perfect. I usually go like every Friday, like on right on Fridays. Hell yeah, another toy going out, traveling around. That's so sick. All right, so I'm gonna add some flame details on here. I'm not sure. Let's see. Just do some weird fire. I always draw my fire like really loose and kind of insane, and people are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm figuring it out too." No worries, man. Whenever you can, I appreciate the support. That figure has been one of the things that I've probably spent the most time trying to work on and really make for about the last 3 years for people to have it in their hand. It's been a really long process for a lot of people that have been following me on Instagram before YouTube. They've seen all the different versions and things like that. And I had like, unfortunately, my Instagram got hacked like about a year and a half ago, and just like deleted a bunch of photos I didn't have anymore. So that sucks. Oh, nice. You got one of the limited ones. That's the Kickstarter edition. So once those are sold out, those are gone for good. And if you want, I can sign it on. I can sign the box on there. I have been signing most of the boxes on the green ones, but I can either sign it on the box, or if you want, let me know and I will sign it on the figure itself. I just use my real name though, because I feel like weird signing it with Wolf Pits. I've had a few people ask me to do like a Wolf Pits tag on there, so I've done that. But whatever you want. Yeah, so there's 50 of each of those made, which is pretty wild now that I think about when I think back on it now, and at the time I was like, yeah, that's totally enough. And now it's the most popular one, and there's not enough of them to go around. But I have everything like at cost right now just to kind of help out and get stuff ready for if you've been watching some of the past videos. Everything's priced at cost right now just so I can make some new merch for the fall. So I'm working on all that stuff now kind of behind the scenes, and I will be sharing it slowly. But none of that stuff comes out until October. So get ready to get spooky because it's going to be sick. All right. We got ranting over. We got the candle here. It looks pretty good. I'm going to bring it down. I can't draw fire to save my life right now. So we're just going to focus on the candle, I think. I'll try harder. I'll stop complaining. All right. So erase these bad lines, and I'll try to take the fire a bit more seriously because I can't do it right now for some reason. I'm just having a hard time thinking of like the direction I want the fire to go. And usually I'm like really good at drawing fire. It's one of those things I can just like, yeah, here's some flames. But tonight I'm having some struggles. Dude, let's definitely do a collab tee in October. I have so much stuff I want to make in October, and I need to do more t-shirts again. But yeah, dude, collab tee in October. Spooky Boys Club, trying to get some ghosty things going on. Smoke instead of fire. You're killing it with suggestions today. Such a better plan. All right, let's render out like on blue. I think that I'm just like getting caught up on dumb things here with the color and whatnot. All right, so for smoke, let's see. And we'll just keep it kind of really graphic for the smoke because I have to shade it still. So when I draw smoke, I draw these weird kind of parallel lines, and I pick and choose what's going to be solid and what's going to be kind of translucent. We'll make it with the dots after. I'll kind of show that technique. And we'll strictly use a stippling brush, and we won't use much color to define the shape of the smoke. But smoke, unlike fire, has a much different trajectory of like where it can go and how it travels, because it can shoot off differently and doesn't need fuel to like feed its direction, if that makes sense. But it probably doesn't, because that was like the worst explanation ever. All right, All right, so we got some references of smoke, and we have our underdrawing for this candle. And then I'll go on a new layer, and then I'll usually grab like a blue, usually a fairly dark blue. And this is actually how I draw in real life in my sketchbooks. If you've seen the sketchbook tours, everything's drawn in red and that weird blue. And I'll just kind of go over and I'll make some more final decisions just to kind of really make sure I know what I'm going to be inking and what's important for details. And this is where we'll lose Angry Gumby underneath. But maybe I'll do an Angry Gumby piece on the next live stream. All right, we got this going. It's looking pretty good so far. I'm like pretty happy with it. I'm going to stop a line here and then do another one down here. So I'm going to keep a break in there just so there's actually some room for the shading to breathe when I do that. And I'm going to try to create a highlight here when I color it. So it'll give more of that illusion of kind of a pit and crevice with the wax. The wick, I'll keep kind of like that. And one of the first streams actually I did was of a Hand of Glory, which is a super esoteric looking occult object, which was used for all sorts of different mystical things. And they're kind of creepy looking, but everyone's seen them before, and they have a lot of lore behind them, but they're so old, people don't really know where they come from. And they're really fascinating, but essentially it's a hand that is turned into a candle, and typically how they were made, it was either a severed hand of a thief or a murderer. And if it was a murderer, it was like the hand that did the deed, it would be cut off, and the hand was used as a talisman to ward off evil and danger, and also kind of as a warning. That's what they really think they were used for, as basically like your ADT security system was the severed hand of the thief that stole from your building and was executed for stealing bread. Pretty fucked up, but it's also, you know, it's interesting. I'm really into a lot of that weird sort of history of objects so old and so dark and nefarious looking that they have no idea what they really mean, and they just kind of make it up. But they're super fascinating, and they're found in a couple cultures around the world, and it's more so in like a lot of weird like Norse, like I don't know, a lot of their weird mythology. They have them in there. They're a popular item for tattoo images. All right, so that looks pretty good. I like the structure of the candle. I think this wax might need to go out a little bit more because I have the dip down here, and realistically the wax would be pulling up much heavier on this side. So there's a few things I could do. I could either like extend these out, or I can show you a little hack. And I think that's actually a bit more realistic of what I would do. I'm going to take the selection tool, and I'm actually going to select like around just the base here, like that. And then I'm going to go into some of the other tools that they have. There's a way to flip it. So I'm going to grab this arrow, and I'm going to just do flip horizontally. And then I'm going to angle it to fit the new base of the candle and just adjust it where I need it to be. So we'll like bring it up to here. Well, I'll bring it up to like right here. Actually, let me just angle this a bit more. Ugh, I don't like how that looks at all. Let me see if I can fix it. Ugh, that looks gross. All right. No, that doesn't look it. Let me draw like a little. It still looks weird. If I put it on top of something, it would look fine. I don't know. Maybe I should put it like on like another object. That would make it look better. Or like shrink it down, and then I can put it like on a skull. It's a pretty classic thing, right? I thought I could go a whole 2 days without drawing a skull, but looks like I can't. Come on. There we go. Uniform. Just trying to scale this drawing up. Maybe I'll put it like on an apple. Is that weird? That would look weird. Because then I can like make the drips just like go around a round shape. Nah, that's fine. You know what? We'll just go back to what it was and I'll fix it. Stop being lazy. So all I gotta do is just extend this part out here. So I'm just gonna erase that down. There we go. It looks a little bit better. A mushroom would be pretty sick. But yeah, I think it would look a little too phallic. So we're gonna try to avoid that, because then I'll never be able to monetize on YouTube. They'll just be like, you're fired for good. Get out. Pack your shitty camera and get out of here. Pack your iPhone and leave. All right, for the smoke, I'm just going to create a bit more of a structured line just to follow. The red was just to get the gesture there, but just to give it a bit more consistency, I'm just going to kind of follow these with a more pronounced and definite line. And we'll just do one more. And let's clip the end of that, because that's not how that would go. Might do something like that. And this one's not bad. All right, so those are gone. We'll have the red sketch underneath. We'll make the new line layer itself. Grab inking. For color palette, we're going to just keep it really traditional, like tattoo flash style. And we're going to do a, let's see, where is it? So there's actually like a lot of nibs and different brushes I want to experiment with. This is one of the newer ones I got, and I've just been having fun with it. So if you guys are curious, I've downloaded so many of these brushes. Like, I've purchased them, obviously. But I would love to share some of them and maybe experiment on a live stream and just kind of share what we're doing, or like what they look like. Because a lot of people see them and they see all these awesome illustrations that are done by illustrators way more talented than me. And maybe people are just interested to see what you can actually do with these brushes. And I would be so down to do like a video on that. And just start inking. And I'm also using like the little keyboard that I bought, like the keyboard case for my iPad, and it's one of the worst angles ever to draw on. So I'm gonna have to figure out something. I'm gonna need to get like another stand for this so I can draw and do the streams, because this sucks right now. Yeah, cracking in my wrist. Carpal tunnel. Yeah, this is awful. All right, I'm gonna like put this flat and see if I can like put something underneath it. That does not feel good at all. Put my speaker. There we go. That's like a decent angle. It's a little bit better. Bluetooth speakers. Also really great iPad stands. So actually, let me show you something I'm going to do with the line work. Now, this is something, if I were just inking freehand, I would not be able to fix, but because I'm in Procreate, I can. If we're going to have the wick here, I guess it's not going to be lit, so I guess it doesn't matter. And I'm also inking on the wrong layer, just realized. But what I was going to reference is that what you could do if you were to do a flame here, you could actually do a space on this line. And the space on the line itself would actually represent like a highlight spot, and you'd be able to do like a really nice flame on it. Let's see. But we're going to just kind of keep a little gap there, just as an aesthetic choice. I'm also using like one of these weird little gloves. Highly recommend if you're going to do any sort of like, I don't know, digital art. It just helps your hand glide across the surface a little bit more. And when you're working on a digital drawing tablet or an iPad, it gets really hot if you have the cord plugged in while it's charging. And then your hand gets all sweaty and gross and starts sticking to the screen. But that's how I'm like able to get really smooth lines. So after a while, like your hand gets a little fatigued and you can really get like a pretty clean line. And it helps with your consistency when you're trying to pull like a really long line or do like a really nice curved line and you're not using the drawing assist, like the snap to feature. The inking is one of the most parts I think about really anything, but once you start doing inking on a digital tablet and realize that you can instantly fix something, you're gonna get way more confident even with your traditional inking skills for sure. It's like training wheels to be a traditional illustrator almost. It's kind of funny actually because like I think about it all the time and I catch myself cautiously doing a line. I'm like, why am I so afraid to do this right now? And I like gotta remember it's digital and not permanent. But then there's times where I'll be like inking really fast and not thinking, and I'm just like, I'll double tap the side of my, like my brush or something. I'm like, oh wait, this is a brush and not an Apple Pencil. Like I just fucked this up really bad. Yeah, the palm sweat can be an issue when it's hot out. It's just starting to get really hot here. It's not hot, but really nice. And I live on the first floor of an apartment building, and I have 5 windows in my bedroom, which is the absolute worst because I'm on the first floor. So I always have to have like my like blackout curtains and drapes up where I can't see outside. So I feel like I'm in a dungeon at all times. And then it gets super hot because it just bakes the room. So I'm just like constantly like, oh my God. And it'll be, like 55 degrees out, but because I'm baking in the sun, it's the absolute worst. And the building I live in is like only about 100 plus years old, it feels like. So it's really shitty. So in the winter, it's super cold. And in the summertime, it's super hot. It's not a good time. This place definitely pizzas when it's supposed to French fry. So it's not going to have a good time. And I'm not having a good time in here. All right. So we got the candle looking pretty good. I think I'm going to add now just some color. We're going to do the same thing we did before. And we're just going to add a layer underneath. So I'm just going to click and drag that, underneath it. This will be like a shaded layer. And we'll just name it. You should name your layers. You should be professional when you're working to save yourself a lot of headaches. But I'm working fast and I'm not too worried about it. And we'll do color first like we did last time because that actually seemed to work out pretty well. And normally I have files like this set up when I'm doing the same type of artwork over and over, or the same style on the same, size palette, or artboard. But we're not doing that today. So what color should the candle be? If anyone wants to throw out a suggestion, I'll take the first suggestion because I don't know what color it should be. If no one has a suggestion, maybe I'll do like an orange. I don't know. I'll do a few swatches. Do a swatch palette. All right. I'm not sure how bad the latency is. I'm going to go with orange for now. Oh, purple. We got a purple candle. All right, Austin. Let's pick a purple together. You want to do this? Let's see. That's going to be weird. I don't know how we're going to do that actually. Deep red and purple. We'll do them both. We'll do a color swatch up here. We'll do this above like I did before. All right, so we got this sick purple. I think this is a pretty sick purple. Let's see. Yeah, that's a dope purple. That looks good. A deep red. There's this burgundy that I love. There's 2 of them actually, but we'll go with this one because it's a bit more realistic on how it would print. So I'm actually designing this like how I would design either a real tattoo flash or like a t-shirt or something. Deep plum. So we got that bright purple, and that's not a deep plum. Let's get that real purple. That deep plum color. That almost looks like too dark on the screen maybe. That like almost looks black. Maybe I'll line it with like that instead of a black. Breaking some rules. Oh, nope. Did I lose it? I lost it somehow. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. but super dark. Let's go into the color disc. So this is actually like a cool feature. This color wheel is actually much nicer than a lot of the other drawing apps I've ever used. And if you want to compare colors, you could do like different layers and make swatches like this, but it's like on a reference layer right now. But I always do this where I'll actually have the colors intersect with the other two color options. And that's how you can either create a palette, or my favorite feature in this is the harmonizing feature, where you can actually create color harmonies and you can pick the type of color that you want to work with, whether it be like a split complementary or anything like that, which is really amazing actually. So you can go in the complementary colors and it'll show you a complementary color to the exact color that you have. So that's really, really awesome. If you guys haven't experienced any color theory applications before, if you're not good at color theory, the stuff that is built into the iPad, or sorry, into Procreate, chef's kiss. Shit's beautiful. And it makes it so much easier when you're making a palette. Okay. So we got some swatch colors going on. I'm going to try this purple. I actually like the darker purple. And the red would be really sick. So I think the red will be cool if the candle was lit with like a yellow, like that golden yellow I was using before. So I'm just going to throw that on there so I can do a few versions of this. Not that weird fleshy tone. That is not a fun color. All right. Yeah, let's get this real shit here. So this like yellow would actually look really good even with all these purples. So if we were to do like a lit candle, this would still look really nice. And then also on the red. On the red, it's perfect. Like that's a color palette I want to use. So we'll start with the purple and then we'll move to the red. And we can actually, I'll be able to show you guys a technique where you can instantly color something and not have to worry about any issues as far as keeping the quality of the texture in your artwork by using layer masks. So we have the reference feature turned on the line drawing. I got to go in here and actually, I don't have any closed gaps. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to take the color I'm going to use, which is this purple, and I'm going to grab my brush really quickly and I'm going to close the gap right here and see if that works. If it doesn't work, then I'll show you another technique. I'm not sure if that'll read it like that, but it might. It did not. So if it doesn't read, what you can do is you can actually outline your entire drawing with the color really quickly, and then you can just drop it in if you don't want to get rid of that line gap there, or you can draw it in and then erase it. So actually, let's just do that because it's probably easier. But what you would typically do is you draw the outline color underneath the layer in the color you plan to fill it in. But we'll just go on the line layer, which is the reference. We'll close the gap, and then we're good to go. No, it doesn't make you be lazy. It makes you more productive, and it lets you take more risks efficiently. Anything that can help speed up your workflow is a good thing to have. And to be honest, like I get that where people are like, oh, it's like gonna make me do like, I'm not gonna work as hard. That's not true. You're still working just as hard. It's like when people get mad about artists that use tracing paper or like things like that. They don't draw every face or something. It's like this artist is definitely capable of drawing every face. The problem is that this is a time issue. There's not enough time in the day. So man, I got a lot of gaps in here. To really render all this stuff if you're working professionally. Those tools exist for you to kind of, like utilize them. That's why they're there. It's not cheating. It's not any, like you're still creating something original. You're using a reference source. So anything to help kind of delegate and give you a lot of freedom creatively, I highly recommend it. If it just helps speed up the process, like don't just like trace someone else's art, But if it helps you speed up the process, I highly recommend it. All right, so this purple looking a little too dark, but that's okay. Well, we're gonna go in and we're gonna do the highlights now, and because I want this to have a similar consistency and texture like before, we're just gonna go make a new layer on top. We'll make the same highlight color in that weird off-white gray, or you could use the eraser. I just like using a color; it's a little bit easier. And yeah, it is super useful. I think it's one of the better features that you can actually have in a program. But there's always a stigma behind that stuff, and I think it's getting like a little bit smaller because people are realizing like, yeah, that shit's important. I think like the best quote is from Mad Men, when Don, I don't know if you've watched the show, but Don Draper is like, my entire art department runs on tracing paper because Betty's all upset. Their kid lied about making a drawing. I mean, he's a little shit for doing that, but he lies about doing a drawing that he traced, and he took the credit for it. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be that kid. Don't be the entitled rich kid. That's stupid and whack. But he had the right ideas that it's a useful tool to help you kind of get an understanding to render certain things out. But don't like claim it as like, oh, it's 100% my beautiful drawings. I don't know. I feel like nervous to say anything because I know the art YouTube world is pretty brutal, and I don't fit in with them just yet. But yeah, I'm like nervous. I'm waiting for like the first person to attack me for using tracing paper. I'm kind of like getting ready. I'm like, bring it. And the drawing assist, I'm sure that's going to become a thing where people are like, oh, you use drawing assist? Like, how dare you? It's going to happen. Someone's going to get really mad. Some big YouTuber is going to use it, and some person that doesn't really draw is going to be really upset and offended, and they're going to make a whole rant video about it. It's going to be sick. It's going to be a time. Have you guys watched any of those videos? Where like there's this like a random YouTuber that also kind of does art, and then they start just completely annihilating another famous artist YouTuber because they're upset about something that's not that big a deal. Those are kind of my favorite videos because I'm like, this person just has no clue. Like, it's not that big a deal. Like, don't freak out about this. There's like other crazier shit happening in the world. I don't know why those are the most entertaining things for me. It was like sometimes the level of ignorance of people is just like, I'm like, okay, at least I'm not doing that shit. not that bad. And not to call out any one specifically, but like, you guys know what I'm talking about. You've all seen that shit. It's just like super weird. All right, and I'm pretending that my light source doesn't exist, and I'm just making highlights. Yeah, dude, the YouTube the YouTube art drama is so insane. But like, I'm not like an anime drawing artist, so like I don't think I'll ever be attacked because it seems to be specifically like with that style of arts, um, that there seems to be the most drama. I think just in that world in general, like a lot of anime kids take their fandom really seriously, and when someone doesn't follow their specific rules that they wouldn't know, they get very upset about it. Yo, Neckface's channel is the best. I want to be friends with Neckface so bad, and just I want to go skate with Neckface. Yeah, the art YouTube world. Yo, check out the young homie Tenzing because he kills it. He's sick. He's got potential. He's gonna be blowing up. He's already blowing up for like a young dude. He's not even like out of high school yet, and he's just killing it. And all the other art YouTubers, for the most part, like there's definitely like a gatekeeper community which I've watched from like other channels and shit, and it's whack, but I think it's getting better. And I think that's like the fact that Neckface has a YouTube channel is going to change it for a lot of people that don't do like anime art and things like that. 1000 stuff is obviously it's fun. He seems like a really nice dude, genuinely. So I'm pretty down to support his channel. Like I'm on his Discord server as well. A lot of the inspiration for mine was from his. So that's like a dude like I'm pretty okay with. Like a lot of people I know in like the real graffiti world like talk shit on him, but I'm like, it's not that big a deal. The dude figured out how to make money on it. Like don't be that person that's mad. It's pretty dumb. And then there's like a couple other artists that like are in like a similar vein as far as like mural and like street art stuff goes. and their art's like good, technically really good. It's just their styles like aren't something that I'm as into. But it is cool to see that there's like stuff branching out that isn't just like anime and fan art, and like nothing against that stuff. Like people do you, but like for me, I need something more than that. Like it's just not enough for me to get really excited about. I dated someone that was like really into like cosplaying, and I think that just ruined it for me. So I was like, this shit sucks now. It's whack. But yeah, it's only positivity on the channel. Shit. Yeah, I wish Neckface would actually do toys. If Neckface did more like toy art, that would be really amazing. I'd be so down to buy all of his figures. Just if any of his original characters are just so good. It's like the crazy like method method characters he does are just the funniest shit. All right, so this is looking pretty good. I think the highlights aren't bad. I'm making it really graphic, kind of comic book styled. I think the purple's a little dark and the black lines aren't standing out enough. So in that case, I would just say start reducing even more of the purple and make the highlights bigger. That's like one technique you can do if you're having an issue with legibility and you're trying to keep it really simple and keep like a really simple style. You can just continue to increase the amount of highlights, but just be more strategic of where you place them. Like right now, there's no reference or light source, and I'm just kind of going at it, and then I'll fix it later if I need to. I'll have to check that channel out. I'm always down for good zines and horror art. Food stuff. Who doesn't like food stuff? Yeah. No, I definitely I want to check out more of the art scene. I think when I search different things that I think I would be into, it's just a lot of those other YouTube artists come up that are really popular because they have like 1 million subs or something. And I'm just like, oh, this is what the YouTube art scene is, and I don't know if I'll fit in. But now that I'm seeing more channels, I'm really excited to see what my future might be on YouTube. It's a super rad platform. Everyone's been telling me to try to do it for years, and I was always kind of like, no, I don't think it'll be worth it. And like, I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of hate for what I make, and people are just gonna shit on my stuff all the time. But honestly, like everyone's been super nice and super helpful that I've met on YouTube. I mean, there's like a few people. Like I had like one person that like made a comment and then they deleted it. They like said some bullshit, and I was like, okay, like whatever. But it's really not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. And I think that's just probably because I'm not like a big YouTuber, and there's not a lot like enough people to be, on the frenemy level with me yet, where they're like trying to just fake be friends and then talk shit behind my back. Like that's not happening. So that's good. It's not happening on YouTube at least, so that's good. I get a lot of that on Instagram, which is weird. Like people are like, "Oh, I love your stuff," and then like they're like kind of like low key, they don't love my stuff. Dude, I will help you get to 100K any way I can. We can do like the Mr. Beast PewDiePie deal. I'll just like plug your channel. I'm like, you gotta subscribe, Space Case. Do it. Everyone in the chat, go to Space Case channel, subscribe right now. That's a real plug. But yeah, no, I'm kind of, I don't know. Like I'm hoping I can make like 1,000. I never thought I'd get over 500, and then like the last couple weeks, it's just jumped up. Like the last 2 days, actually, it just jumped up like 5 subs. To me, that's a lot. But yeah, dude, I hope you make it to like over 100K. Your shit's rad. Better get over 100K. I think my stuff, like my film quality is so bad. I'm surprised anyone watches my videos. Because I just don't, like, I film with like my iPhone and I have a GoPro, but I also live in a dungeon apartment. So it's a little hard to get decent lighting. Shit's expensive. Cost of living here is really expensive. So it's like, I'm like, I could go buy some lights or I could pay my rent. So that's the hard part right now. But it's been cool. Like people have been donating on the stream, which is so fucking sweet. And I like never thought that would be a thing. So that's super rad. And everyone that has done that, no obligation to do that by any means, by the way, with any of this stuff. You don't need to buy my shit or anything. But I do greatly appreciate it. And I do try to pump it all into this. So it's been super fucking cool. But hopefully I can up the quality a little bit more. Like some of my first videos actually filmed on a friend's camera. They had like a really nice Sony A6500, I think. And I filmed on that for a few of my first videos, and you can tell the quality is just so much better. And just like the angles I was able to kind of achieve without really having a headache and be on a time crunch. It's good to have like a dedicated camera, but the filming cinematic footage on a GoPro is hard. Dude, that's the way to live, man. Burping and being poor at your desk. That's the way to thrive. I think that's like I don't know if you when you got on the stream, but we like got into all the emotional ups and downs of freelancing earlier. I feel like I actually bummed a lot of people out, so I'm sorry about that, guys. But yeah, no, it's like these are the times that you're gonna like learn the most about yourself creatively. It was like the hardships and the bullshit. All right, so now from a distance, this looks weird, and I think there's just too much highlights in certain areas. So I'm gonna go back. That's why I did the highlights on another layer, and now I can actually like cut back like you would if you were spray painting. You just cut back over the color, erase it out. And we can sharpen up some of the highlights. And I'm just going to get rid of this weird connection here and just keep that one. Switch back to the brush and make it look as textured. Now, there's not enough negative space in the object to really define it, in my opinion. I think there's just something that's kind of missing. And because I didn't pick a light source and I just started drawing highlights, that's why it looks like kind of weird. But that's okay. We want it to look graphic. We want it to have that feel. And when I start throwing the black shading in there, it'll definitely help kind of separate some of those things. And I can go back and add highlights as I need them. So we're going to switch back to like the black ink. Dude, freelancing is the best worst thing in any freelancer's life. It's great. The idea of it's awesome. And when things are coming in, it's amazing. But like when you'll have those months where you have no work or you have nothing coming in, your products aren't selling, it gets super miserable and sad, and it's really hard sometimes, but it is the way it is. Working for yourself is hard when you have to be your own boss, because you have to kind of like be a dick to yourself and like get over it. It's going to be fine. Just come to work anyway. Like you're still scheduled, But once you get that kind of mindset and you build a little bit of discipline on it, and you really realize that it's like it's not forever, it's going to be harsh, it gets easier. I've been doing it for years at this point, and I've been fortunate enough to work with some pretty big brands. And I don't have a degree from any schools or anything for design. I don't have any of that shit. Like I'm all completely self-taught, but it's possible. Like I've worked with Converse, which is a really big brand, and a lot of people are kind of baffled, and I'm baffled, but I got the opportunity by like working really hard and just making those connections and putting in the work, even when shit was really in the red. But you can do it, man. It's just hard. It's like a skill building thing. You got to take the time, and it gets easier. Let's see. Got some stuff going on in the Discord. Just checking out real quick. Okay. There's like a bot I plugged in recently where it just like tells me if when people are online in the Discord, it's like, this person's playing this game, this person's doing this. I'm like, that's kind of creepy, NSA. Want to chill out? But it's my own fault for putting that bot in. But basically, just like if you're logged in, it'll be like, this person's listening to music right now. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of creepy, I guess. So if that makes people uncomfortable, let me know, and I'll see if I can remove that. But I guess it's like a way so people can like join in on a conversation or like play a game with a person. So I don't really know the ins and outs of Discord just yet. All right, so now that I'm adding the black, it's actually starting to take a bit more shape. Purple is a hard color to work with when you're using it with black and just negative space. So what I would typically do, this would be an instance where I might need to add more colors and expand the palette. And all I would do for that is I'd probably actually add just another purple. And what I would do is I'd do another layer again underneath the brighter highlight. And then we'll pull it out. I'll show you guys what I mean in a second. But we're just going to throw in the black kind of heavy. and we're not really going to worry about where it's falling. It's on a separate layer. We can clean it up after. But I'm just going to keep it pretty heavy on there and see how it turns out. All right, not too bad. It's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to try to figure something out. I think there's something that's not clicking just yet, but I think it's going to work itself out. Up here in this part of the candle definitely needs a lot of black, so I think that'll help fix it. And I didn't choose a light source. Again, that's not good. If you're going to draw something with depth like this, that's not just line art, it needs to have a light source reference, and you should probably figure it out before you start rendering. But we're just having fun here. It's getting like a little late, but it's all right. Just keep drawing, and we'll see what comes of it. All right, so yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now, one of the things that could be an issue if you're drawing a heavy concentrated area of black in a graphic image like this, and you have a piece of line work that's a crucial element and not just the line, like the wick here, what I would recommend doing, and what I usually do, is I actually create a highlight that's like, we'll call it practical lighting in the sense of an illustration. And basically what that'll do is it'll give me an area that cuts through the black. So I'll either use an eraser or I'll use like the white. Hell yeah, man. Thanks for being on the stream. It was a fun one tonight. So, but yeah, hit me up. We got to get that, let's get those ideas going for some Halloween shirts. I'm excited. That would be really sick. All right, so I'm just throwing a highlight in, and I'm actually going to throw it on the side with a more concentrated black now that I'm looking at it. And I'm actually going to run along the side of it like that. And that actually gives me a nice little gap there. And you can use other things. You can actually go back with the eraser, and we can just do just that on the black, and that might actually be enough. So that's something that you can do, and you can also do it on the opposite side up top. So I'd do it like on this side as well. And that looks pretty good. It's enough to give the information we need. All right, so it's looking okay. Now, I had grabbed a second purple, or when we were making the palette, we had all those other purples. So I'm going to switch to another one of those. And I'm going to try a few techniques. We're going to try with the shading first on a layer just above the purple and see how that looks and give it some of the texture. And you can just add this wherever you want. You can add it to like all sorts of places. So you can either add it right against this other highlight, and it's underneath a painted layer instead of it being erased. And that's another benefit of using a pigmented layer versus a clipping mask sometimes, because it allows you to sort of have those details that you wouldn't normally get. And I want to keep this pretty rough still. I'm thinking that's like the best part. It looks like a weird old print ad you might find in like a horror comic or something like that. So I'm kind of into that. I think it's a pretty rad. And you can add more texture, so I'm going to actually put some heavier pressure on and get a larger scattered brush in this set. So I'm using these really, really bold lines right now. And I think I'm going to get something like this. It's got a much larger scatter pattern and kind of put some pressure down and just kind of go over the piece and try not to keep it super uniform, but just to give it some more texture, a bit more depth, so it's a little bit easier to read too on screen. So that looks pretty good. So we got all that in there, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with the color and the purple. It looks all right. I think that's not bad at all. So that's one option. Now to recolor this, there's two options. If we were to like do the red, we could do we could do the red on different layers and different tones and match this because it's on separate ones and do layer mask for the whole thing. Or another thing you can do is you actually can do a clipping mask on top of the image and do the whole thing and do a tonal thing with using screens and other blending modes, which I think is what I'll probably have to do for this. Now, if we go back to the sketch that we had underneath, we'll do the smoke on a separate layer. And we'll do that in black. We're going to grab a fairly large scatter brush, and we're only going to use these brushes to kind of define what the smoke is. So I'm going to rely heavily on the pressure, sensitivity of the pen to kind of do that for me. And I think that scatter is just not enough. So I'm going to scale this up, the brush size up to about 100. That's a little too much, actually. Let's bring that back. And I'm just going to kind of fill it in and have some light areas and some heavier concentrated areas with this sort of idea of the smoke. We'll switch it back down a little bit smaller, and then we'll start adding in center lines along here. So we can go in and we add these along the center and on one edge to create a hard edge. And the smoke's going off the canvas a little, and that's okay. Normally I would never design it to go like that, but we're just experimenting at this point, just to kind of see how it looks as smoke. And then we'll go and get this other larger scatter one here, which isn't as concentrated. Scale that up, and we'll just experiment and see what brushes work for this sort of style and effect. And that looks pretty sick actually so far. So let's just remove that layer underneath, which is just the sketch layer, which is this blue sketch one. Now let's just remove the color palette. It's a little distracting, and we'll zoom out. And that looks pretty good, but I think that it's just like not quite there. So we'll go in with the eraser, and we'll actually start cutting down into some of this, and we can cut through and do some more defined shapes by creating negative space. And you could do this with a clipping mask, but I'm working destructively just to kind of speed it up a little bit. And that's actually like a really good technique, is using negative space to sort of give it a bit more shape. And we can even do it for this little cutback where it's like curving around. Sort of like that. So that's like one technique. And that's kind of like a quick candle, and then I can show you guys how to do it in red. So we have everything here. I'm actually going to select one layer and then duplicate the rest. So we have all these. We're going to do a group, and then we'll duplicate the group. We'll hide one of them on the new group. We'll actually merge it down. So you just pinch all the layers together, and then you pull it out of the group, if that makes sense. I guess we can keep it in, but it doesn't really matter. All right, so now we have one that's completely flattened. There's two techniques we can do. The first one is just a overlay mask with all the colors, and it'll all be like a tint of red, and you can mess with the levels and the screens and all that. So we'll grab that red from before, that nice dark red. We'll drag it onto this layer here. Oops, sorry, wrong one. We'll drag it onto, yeah, that should have been, that's weird. That's not supposed to be like that. Oh, interesting. Oh, you know why? I have the reference layer still turned on. I was like, why is it doing that thing again? Yeah, so if you click on it, there's a reference layer in one of these, and that's why that's happening. So yeah, you got to turn off your reference layer even if it's underneath, apparently. So that's a feature I don't like. If the layers are turned off, they shouldn't be active. That's not a good feature in my opinion. I hate that. We'll do clipping mask, and now all the color is covering it completely. So if you ever need to change a line color or a solid color quickly, you can create a clipping mask, and it's not destructive because you can just turn it off if you don't like it. We'll then go over and we'll check all the different settings we can do. So on the clipping mask, if we click the N, which is the normal mark, we can go through the blending modes. Sorry, I need some water. Well, I'm seeing now that Austin donated $5. Hell yeah, dude. He's gone, and I couldn't even tell. I gotta figure out something I can do for like streams and stuff. So we'll go through the blending modes. We have multiply, darken, color burn, and they pretty much explain what they do in the the description of like what they are. Screen is the most common one used for doing this sort of thing. You can actually add like other tonal values of color on top of your existing artwork, like I did in the Bella Lugosi piece. The divide is cool because it's like an opposite. It's like an inversion almost, and a blend at the same time. So that one's really cool. Hue works really well, so that's actually what I'm going to use for this one. It allows us to keep it black, and then we can change the opacity of that. And once you bring it down, the other color underneath will kind of bleed through, and you can find like the right red and get it exactly how you want it. But that's kind of it. Looking pretty good. So that's how you can do like fast color changes, and then you can instantly turn it off and have a different color, and all your black still looks the same. And if this is just going for like a digital print, it's good to go. And it's also a good way to do mock-ups if you're doing t-shirt graphics. But yeah, it looks pretty good. I've been going for a while now. It's already like 8:30. I started the stream at 5:30, so we've been going for a while. I think I'm gonna actually call it for right now. Thank you guys for watching the stream. Thank you everyone that's been donating, people who purchase stuff. It's awesome. People that are new and subscribing to the channel, I really appreciate it. I will be back again doing just kind of random streams throughout the week, but every Thursday at 5 or 5:30 it will be posted on the Discord server, and there will also be something posted on YouTube and on all my other social media. I try to post when I'm going to do the live streams, so you'll be able to find it somewhere. But yeah, 5:30 is the goal I'm shooting for every week. 5:30 Eastern Pacific time, Eastern Standard Time, and that's when I'm going to try to do most of the live streams. I like having the idea of doing a schedule like this, and I'm starting to get the Streamlabs stuff figured out. There's just all these things up here I got to figure out still, like everything with like the bar and all that, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm going to try to stream more. So yeah, thank you for joining the stream. It's been awesome. No Kappa tonight. You know what? I'm writing it down, and I'm going to draw the sickest one. I'm going to draw a sketch, like not on stream because it'll take probably forever, but I will do like a really epic one, I promise. All right. Kappa is going in the notebook. This is my daily notebook of things I need to do, and I'm going to take up an entire page. All right, Kappa drawing is happening right now. It's hard to talk for like a couple hours on stream. I got to like figure out a better game plan so I can talk longer. This seltzer water, it's just not enough. All right. And it looks like I'm dropping a lot of frames according to the Streamlabs. I think there's an issue with the internet connection. All right. Kappa drawing. Next live stream. Bunch of exclamation points, but now I'm going to remember because I look at this every single day. And I'll even put the bookmark on the page. All right, Kappa drawing. That's the next live stream. Sorry, I didn't get to it, and I spent way too much time on this candle that I said I could do in 5 minutes. Sorry, it took like over an hour. But yeah, so I will see you guys next week, or I'll probably maybe do another video just kind of at random, and we'll see. It's all up in the air. It just depends on schedules. And I gotta guess a studio tour update number 2 when I finally get all the parts to my desk, which should have been here today. So I gotta go figure that out, and I'll film that whole process of putting it together. And I don't know. I feel weird about doing that shit, but I'll try to make an interesting video out of it. But that's gonna do it for tonight's stream. Thank you guys so much for watching, and Wolf Bits out. Peace.